Okay, it is 8:30, and we are going to start the meeting. Today we have a pretty busy schedule. We're going to do some budget meetings. We're going to try to take a lunch break around noontime, and then wrap up the afternoon, and hopefully be done by 1, 2 o'clock today. So, first up is the DPW. So, Paul, you want to come up and walk us through? Yeah, Darryl, you can come up too. And thanks for making me look bad with a t-shirt.
Shrinking?
So I'll let you, Paul, decide how you want to walk us through this. We have it listed engineering first, and highway, then sewer, then parks and cemetery. So however you want to handle it.
All right, give me the page. Well, I can do engineering right off the top of my head without even looking.
All right, let's go through engineering.
So the increases in that budget, the professional technical, largely based on the MS4 permit that were required in the every year that permit, it's a 10-year permit. Every year it gets more expensive. More and more work is required in compliance with it. So that's really the large increase in that.
Who do you bring in outside engineering to help with that?
Yeah, we use VHB
Okay.
as a consultant for that. They were the consultant, Brian had them long ago, and
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So everything else is pretty much level.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Sue, I know you, Dan, and Victoria met. Is there anything you want to call our attention on it?
Pretty much everything was level funded, so, but, I have to say that I gotta give kudos to Paul. He put together a really good budget for ClearGov. Everything was just crystal clear. There weren't any questions.
We try, we're not the brightest.
No, you are. So in terms of the MS4 permit, when does it? You said it's a 10-year permit. When
Yeah.
does it expire?
I don't know.
In 10 years.
It's,
In 10 years.
10 years from the day it started.
I don't know what the start date was. I think we're like in year 6 now, 6 or 7.
So Paul, once it's renewed, what happens next?
You have to reapply for an updated permit, or you just continue with that same permit
Okay.
at year 10. So whatever the controls and things you've done up to year 10 would just continue in perpetuity until they issue another one.
Okay.
So this year we have to develop phosphorus control plans for both the Blackstone River watershed and because a small portion of Grafton, the Tufts area, and end of Old Westboro Road at the Westboro Town Line, drain towards the Assabet River. We have to have one for that river as well. So, because they're both considered impaired waterways. So,
And then that includes maintenance on the catch basin system and all that as well?
yeah, so that's, included as part of that permit is the ongoing catch basin cleanings twice a year, street sweeping of the streets and the parking lots.
Now, is that done by that work is done by your regular highway crews?
Yeah, so the staff does the street sweepings and the catch basin cleanings, and for the large part, the retention basins they get the woody vegetation out of those and everything else as well.
So the 150 is basically to pay VHB to do the
yeah.
reporting?
And the reporting and the design work for the phosphorus control plans for the 2 watersheds that are considered impaired by the EPA.
Okay.
And whatever they come up with for plans, it's gonna be a construction cost to obviously put in whatever they come up with for design.
I know we talked last year, I mentioned what we do up with a special fee for it to cover the cost to get it out of the budget. Have you looked at that or thought about that at all, or is this not worth it?
We've discussed it a little bit, we just haven't decided if that's right for us yet.
Okay. All right. Any other questions on engineering?
CMRSC is down to 0 this year. Did that get moved somewhere else? Or is that just no longer existing?
Hold on, I can't. Should have brought better glasses. Oh, wait a minute. It's because I'm on the wrong line.
Yeah, I think that
They're
was the only.
professional and
policy, I'm
technical.
sorry,
Yeah.
that was changed.
Yeah, I don't. Without Brian here, I don't even know what that stands for. So,
Okay.
let's see.
All right, so the bulk of the increase is for the,
It's
Permit.
my vague recollection, Paul, that when we talked about it way back, we moved that into the P and T
Okay.
just to have it all in one line. But I'll double check.
Regional Stormwater Coalition.
It may be that.
Yeah.
Central Mass.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's like dues to the organization?
Yeah, it's like they do, like the Think Blue Massachusetts and that stuff, where there's a consortium with like 20 other communities, so.
Okay, so that's part of the 20,000 increase.
Yeah.
On that. Makes sense.
So the overall increase is at 10%, 10.6%. The energy in this room is so exciting on a Saturday morning. All right, any other questions on engineering? All right, highway, you want to walk us through that?
Highway, on the personnel side, Mary assigned Kevin his own line, so we took him out of he was in with just the wages for permanent personnel, so now there's myself and then Kevin, has his own line. Increase in overtime, just with more residents, with more streets, with more complaints, is an increase in callback time, nights, weekends. So that's what that increase there. And really the overall budget increase is salaries, really. There's not a whole lot of,
And you remember that the department head is paid out of two accounts, sewer and highway. So,
Any portion of the deputy come out of, or is that 100% paid for the town? Sewer doesn't cover any of the deputy superintendent's salary?
no, just myself.
And 60/40 seems to make the most sense for it.
Yeah.
And then the cost of living adjustment was how much in the union contract?
2%.
2%, okay.
Yep, 2% plus whatever step. I'm sorry, for fiscal 24, it's 3%.
3%,
Correct. For GMEA, yeah.
okay.
plus step.
Yep, plus step, yep.
So the 77,000 used to be in the wages line, and we moved it to a separate, to track it separate?
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense. And then the on-call stipend, that's new?
No, it just was, it was
Yeah, it was part of the salary, so I called
You
it out.
call that out as well,
Yep.
okay.
Over time, you'll see that more and more as we figure out the best way to break
Better
these out.
tracking.
Because when we started it, almost everything was just lumps. And we've been trying to pull them out where it makes sense.
So the 8% is because of the cost of living increase and the increase in overtime?
Correct.
Okay. So any other questions on salaries? Any other questions on services and expenses? Paul, we're making this really, really easy for you.
okay, right up my alley.
Yeah, looks like everything else is pretty much level.
Yep. The overall budget's up 4.7%, which most of that's personnel,
It's all personnel.
all personnel. You're right, because everything else is level funded. All right?
And I will make as we discussed during our meetings and with Sue and Dan and Greg and Victoria.
You had half the finance committee with you.
Yeah, no kidding. The level funded is fine, except it's obviously we all know everything costs more. So long term, it's not sustainable for that department. It's been level funded since I started in this position. And, use a brake drum for a big truck used to cost $50 and now it costs $200. So it's just over time, we're not gonna get the same bang for our buck and stuff. We've got a great staff, but you can only drag that stuff so much, so. It's
What's your chapter 90 allotment?
a little more than $500,000.
So that's, all right, and then, so that, what do we use that for versus the road stabilization fund money that we use as well?
For example, we're doing the Stowe Road culvert right now. It's, $800,000. That's all chapter 90 money. The easements for Main Street were all chapter 90 money. We have several other smaller projects we're doing right now, which the town has to take the easements on, so that's chapter 90 funded.
Okay,
So
and then the road stabilization is mostly pavement, that's.
mostly paving, and then if we need to offset costs with the chapter 90, we will. So.
All right, And then do you want to talk about the big road project you guys want to do? I know it's gonna be a warrant article. Do you want to talk about it now while we're all here?
So we're looking at redoing George Hill Road. We've been doing the engineering for a while,
Yeah.
maybe close to a year. So we're getting close to getting that 10% plan.
No, I see, it's further along than that after our call from last week. It's,
Okay.
probably
So
20.
some percentage plan, more than 10, less than 100. We're working on that, but the current estimates that we're getting is that we should be budgeting from somewhere between $5 million and $7 million. So, obviously we start planning for 7 and hope for 5. That's pretty much how we're gonna play that. Our current conversation revolves around debt exclusion. Just simply because if you were level principal, you're at $630,000 a year for 15 years for $7 million. If you put that entirely on, say, the road stabilization account, I mean that's almost half of the.
Then you do nothing else.
You're gonna eat into a ton of what that account was designed to do. So that's our current thinking. Select board has not voted on that yet, of whether that's the direction that they want to go. But that's currently what we're thinking.
So is that a project that would be done in '24? It's ready to go?
It's, but by the time we get to design, there's obviously a lot of, it's a scenic road, so there's hearings for tree removals, stone wall removals, relocations. There's easements, permanent, temporary utility, overhead wires, plus the drain, there's no, it's all open drainage now that'll all be enclosed, and then the drain pipes that run into the wetland on the west side of the road, the whole length of it. There's a few that are real easements, the other ones are just been there forever, so that's where the water goes. And we'd end up using the same locations, we're not gonna move it. But it's making those easements official. Fortunately, town meeting approved the town taking of the easements and stuff, so all that, by the time we iron all that out,
Gonna be a couple of years.
it'll be
Is what he's saying.
it'll be a while.
Okay, so you're probably not gonna do it this spring's town meeting.
No, we'll seek the authorization at this town.
Oh, you do want to do it this year?
Yeah, I think so, because that's gonna, if people don't want to do that, that's gonna
No
change
sense in
the
doing the
entire
rest of the
plan of
stuff.
what we're doing. We're not gonna spend all of the money on the engineering, the final engineering, that we would if people say that's too much money for George Hill Road.
How long is it, George Hill Road?
It's a little more than 2 miles, 2.1 miles.
Yeah.
So,
Hello?
that's Brian,
Hi, Brian.
or God.
I had a question.
All right,
I'm going to tell you right now, technology is not my friend.
Who's that deep voice?
I think it's Brian.
Brian.
Oh, Brian.
Trying to mumble.
Evan, I just wanted to ask you, have you thought about using debt exclusion plus some of the money from road stabilization?
We honestly have not gotten that far down
Okay.
in the conversation. I would say, have we thought about it? Yes. Have we talked about it with the select board and with all of us kind of together figuring out
Okay.
best path? Not yet. I think that the problem is that, so at 630,000, I want to say it's like $97 per taxpayer per year per tax bill. If you take 200,000 out of the road stabilization, now we're down to 70. Is it that much of a difference to then take that $200,000 worth of pavement that we could be putting down somewhere else? I don't know that it is. So I mean that's kind of the longer term conversation that we have to have before the board votes to put it on the warrant and on the ballot.
Well, the amount of work that you do each year out of the road stabilization fund, I'd hate to see us lose that momentum.
Right.
Because the roads are really starting to come around really, really nice. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
whole project made a lot of sense. This is like Main Street, outside the norm.
Right.
So it makes sense to have a special act on it.
Yes,
special authorization on
that's kind of what Paul and my baseline discussion has
I think-
been.
I
It's
think-
just that
it. I understand that. Makes
we
sense.
don't want to take a step back from all the progress that they've been making.
Yeah, the project has been ginormous. It's been excellent.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And we're already getting less, because, there was the part of that where it was supposed to increase every year and we never did. So, as Brian goes along every year, you get less and less lane miles per dollar, only because asphalt costs have increased dramatically in the past. It's largely based on petroleum cost and those prices are way up, so.
But now we're actually increasing that each
Correct.
year.
Yep.
Same with the capital stabilization.
Correct.
fund, we're doing that.
I haven't looked at the debt schedule. Is there any debt coming off anytime soon?
Well, interest must be going down in the high school, right?
2 years we have some.
Yeah, there's like a few things rolling off, like, the PEG, cable, that's rolling off FY '24, but that doesn't impact, the schools, they'll be rolling off, I think, in 6 years.
Yeah. We have it on when we get to that part of our
Yeah.
budget, but also, you also have to remember you're now ramping up your DPW and library are hitting,
Right,
now as well.
this just came on.
So, yeah, I mean, I still think when you look at the project, if you spend any time on Georgia Road, just the sheer amount of water is the main problem, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this conversation. You'd just be doing an overlay and redoing your country
Drainage is the
drainage
key
and-
to this,
Yeah,
and that's the
Lack
biggest part of the
thereof.
cost.
Yeah, when
Lack of it, yeah.
yeah, when I had first started, Paul and I think our first project together was a drainage project on George Hill
Right.
Road, and I've never seen that, that amount of water on, just drive down the road, and it hasn't rained for 2 weeks, and there's
Yeah.
water running down right in the road. It's wet, and it seems to be a lot of ledge, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Any other questions on highway? All right, did you have a question? Sanitation,
That's not you.
That's- yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that'll be us.
that's you, okay, I'm sorry.
It's expensive.
All right,
I'm kidding away.
why don't you run us through sewer, Paul?
Sewer,
We have cemeteries.
wanna do down?
You wanna do cemeteries and then we'll
Yeah,
do sewer,
we'll
I'm sorry, I just
yeah.
going down the
We
list.
just kind of do
Yep, you're
the
right,
whole thing together.
you're all dressed up,
Yeah, go Daryl, it's all you.
nowhere to go. All right, so walk us through cemeteries.
Pretty much, we're in the same boat as the rest of the DPW. We level funded our budget, and really the only increases are gonna be in salaries and, wages.
How many men in the department?
So there's, 3 full-time employees, including myself, and then we also have 2 seasonal employees that are, that work, like 3 months out of the year, and then we also have, 3, cemetery caretakers that work from April to about, Thanksgiving.
And we are looking for 2, if anybody's interested.
Thank you very much. Yes, we are looking for 2
Job
positions
is
to be
posted
filled.
now.
What does that run, April to September?
April to Thanksgiving, usually around there, when leaf season ends, or when
It's
you've had
long
enough
season.
of it.
You'll take one of those jobs.
I'm thinking about it. What do you pay, minimum? So pretty much we've level funded, and we're just accounting for the, union increases?
Yes.
And so, similar to what Paul was saying within your department, level funding, is that putting you further and further behind?
I mean, we're really trying to stretch it out as much as we can. There are certain things that are going up in price. Like one of the things was like grass seed. Like the blend that we use of grass seed was at $1.25 a pound, and now it's up to about $4.50 due to supply issues and also the wildfires up there in Oregon that destroyed a lot of the seed crop. So we're doing the best we can with what we have. With the capital.
Yeah, but even though it's capital, just.
Okay, and we're also looking to replace one of our mowers that's about 11 years old now. When we bought it back in 2012, it was about $18,000, and now the comparable model to replace that is actually all the way up to about $35,000.
Oh, wow.
Part of that has to do with the diesel exhaust. That added about another $6,000 onto the price in just the past 4 years. And that's sort of what we're looking at right now.
I should probably know the answer to this question, but I'm gonna ask anyway. Do you have perpetual care accounts?
Yes.
How much do you have in perpetual care, and how is that used to offset operating costs within the budget?
So we haven't really had to dip into perpetual care all too often. We did buy a John Deere tractor a couple years ago for more brush cutting and stuff like that, but a lot of that perpetual care money goes towards the actual like paving of the cemeteries, tree removal, retention walls, repair, stuff like that.
Okay.
But I have not actually really touched a lot of that money in the past 4 years, 5 years.
So it's just been, what's the balance in the perpetual care account?
I can look into that.
Okay.
It's a sacred cow. Don't touch it.
I don't want to touch, I'm just curious, because obviously you can, level
Yeah.
fund this
Oh, yeah.
because you have the ability to tap into that fund.
Yeah, and use
It's
it.
kind of cool that you're not tapping into that. And you're still staying within this amount of money.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, eventually we're gonna have to look into tapping into that. Some of like the roads, like in Riverside Cemetery, they're deteriorating.
Yeah.
So we already had half of that cemetery repaved close to about 10 years ago. The other half should probably be repaved. That's the lower area there where the main entrance is, going all the way down towards the flagpole. But, maybe even the main entrance to Fairview, we're starting to get some road hazards in there as well. So, I mean, it's something that we have been discussing, but haven't really made a final decision on yet.
Okay. But at least you have the ability to, you have funds that you can use to do
Yes.
that, which is good. All right, I don't have any other questions. Anybody have questions on? All right. Nothing from you? Very quiet today, Greg.
I met with him already, so.
Oh, that's true, you did. All right, that pretty much wraps that up, so we can get right into sewer. And I know you really wanna talk about sewer, I can see it in your face,
Oh,
Paul.
It's the best part of my day.
Coughing at the gills.
All right, so what's going on with that?
Again, the increase is largely, when salaries increase, there's an increase in the energy line. Most, our increases are things we have there's no control. We pay National Grid a lot of money, $225,000-$30,000. No, whatever the utility costs are, they are. And with increase in flows, there's increase in electricity, it's just that more equipment's running. Chemical usage, again, same thing, we were just told by our vendors, expect an increase. As the year goes on, our magnesium hydroxide, the cost of that already increased. So it's just costs we have no control over, so that's largely the drivers for the increase in the whole department. But other than that, situation normal.
Capital wise, what are you looking to do capital?
No, nothing, just replace a pickup, nothing. We spent $49 million over the last 10 years, so hopefully taking a break for another 10. So, we did, that department also has a NIPD's permit similar to the MS4 permit, but the sewer one is only good for 5 years, so there's a new permit that actually takes effect April 1st. So we have no idea, there's not a lot of, the water side of it stayed the same, the discharge limitations on that side, but the testing requirements increase. So now we have to test for PFAS and lead, where we didn't have to before. And so those costs, we don't know what those costs are gonna be. We, out with a couple labs now trying to get some quotes. But, so we built that into the P&T account for this year.
So I can understand the PFAS with the water department, but testing it in sewers, that's because you're putting it back into the aquifer?
Correct.
And so is there a potential that you would have to, we just spent all that money upgrading the plant. PFAS wasn't part of the upgrade, I don't think, right?
No, definitely not.
So if all of a sudden you're starting to get high levels of PFAS at the sewer plant, you have to upgrade, you have to treat that.
Right.
Do we have an idea what that might cost us?
None. No idea. The hope is that if the water department are meeting the requirements on their end, we're getting the same water. Obviously, it's, what people do in their laundry, and that's the drive behind the EPA's requirement to test for it now. This is what's going into the people's houses, this is what we're getting out, how much is leaching out from, waterproof clothing and or plastics deteriorating in the dishwasher or things like that.
Oh, that could be a disaster. Wow.
But, so this permit's 5 years. Again, hopefully, the last permit was only supposed to be a 5-year permit, it lasted 10.
Okay.
So if this is the same, you just continue to operate. So it's, monitoring right now quarterly, so they'll base their next permit decision on what we get.
So based on the, you're gonna say something?
Not yet.
So based on the budget, we're not looking at a rate increase or anything, are we?
No, the goal the sewer commission has set in 2013 was to get to a rate, by the enterprise accounting system, we level fund that budget. To pay all the indirect expenses as well for the staff and, insurance, people's time in this building, the Worcester Regional Retirement. So the goal was to maintain that at that rate, to maintain that, which we're pretty close, because as customers increase, we get, there's more revenue coming in. And we also have a connection fee that to offset some of those costs in the end. So that's really in the end why we end up moving money almost every town meeting to different various accounts, because we don't know what stuff's gonna cost. Again, energy costs go up 30% next year, that electric budget's gonna get blown out of the water, so it's That's the,
Okay. So we're gonna maintain the rates. I love how you guys last year, was it last year you took it out and we're actually accounting for it properly now, which is really good. So, all right, any other questions on sewer? Okay, thank you for coming in today, I appreciate it. We're gonna go right into you at fire.
okay.
So, let's open up the fire budget and talk fire. We're 15 minutes ahead of schedule already, and I thought I'd cut back on the time for the meeting, but need to cut back even more.
Perpetual care, balance is, 714,000.
Okay, so you got good money, and that's earning interest, because that's in the seventh grade account.
Yes.
So when what do people pay into the perpetual care account when they come in?
3/4 of every grave that is sold goes into the the perpetual care account. 1/4 goes into the town general fund. So right now we're getting $400 a grave. So $300 goes into the perpetual care account. We also
Okay.
have cremation lots. Those are only $100. So that would be the 75-25
Okay.
split.
What was that number again for perpetual care?
700 and,
714, 714.
that's a healthy perpetual care account. That's a good job, okay. And you're barely touching that, so that's really good.
Try not to. It's,
No, I like
you know,
that.
it's emergency use.
Oh, yeah. And you're not thinking about tapping into it at all?
No, I mean, I think,
Did you know there was 714,000 in there until just now?
I'm sure she told me, Mary's told me that before and then told me not to spend.
Not to touch it,
But no, I mean, I think we'll keep doing what we've been doing, which is if Darryl and Paul have a project coming up that we can look at, whether it's gonna end up in capital or in perpetual care, we have that conversation, you know. Paving, wall work, tree work, anything above and beyond, but if we can continue to maintain it in the operational budget, I think that's a good strategy.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. All right, Paul, fire department.
Fire department.
We're cutting the salary of the chief?
Yeah, we should. No. 'Cause he's not here today. So, whatever that salary is, thank God it's not me anymore. Whatever the contract is, I have,
Yeah, that's the
contract.
contracted versus what we put in there as a placeholder last year,
Right.
which was up to
Yeah.
150, I think.
Yeah, because the 150 was before he was hired.
Yeah.
So it was an estimate.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's why. All right, so
Yeah.
that was what we put in the budget last year and then.
correct, it's a reduction from fiscal, 23,
All right.
or 24 rather.
All right, so administrative personnel, I would imagine that's from the union agreement,
Correct?
and firefighters. So we got rid of the part-time, we knew that was happening, that was planned to eliminate that, or?
Yeah, we budgeted it last year, not knowing how everything would shake out.
Okay,
So yeah,
Yeah, there's a note in here about the firefighter decreased to 54,000 due to elimination of part-time.
okay,
inspectors.
yep, okay, there it is.
and so for next year though, on that line, and this is after meeting with the other reps earlier, Mike Colleen, the inspector, his salary is also included in the firefighter, so next year we'll pull him out as a separate line. Just because his salary's in there, and I think it would be easier for us to keep track of what the call staff is making in comparison.
So don't have it all lumped into.
Yeah, just pull Mike's out completely.
So Eric, how many firefighters did Eric say we have?
There's
now?
50, we have 52.
52.
Is that down or up from previous years?
It's down from the peak in the 90s, up from, we've got, since last January, I think we've, got 10 additional people.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's definitely up in the last 2 years
Yeah.
I've been here.
So we're doing a lot of advertising, recruitment, things like that.
Yeah,
We're trying,
they've
you
been
know,
a great
it's-
job.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah.
So overall, because of the chief salary came down and the firefighters came down because of that position, pretty much expenses are,
Expenses have gone up too.
we bumped up repair and maintenance has gone up.
Yeah.
And what else? That's about it,
That was
right?
the biggie, yeah.
So that obviously gave you a break this year when you were putting together the budget, which helped you with everything else because you pretty much decreased the fire department budget. So I know the other night when we were talking to the schools and they were looking at a big year and we asked the question, are you worried about it? And you said you don't see anything moving forward. But, getting a break this year in fire, you're not gonna get it next year, obviously. So there'll be some increased cost, right?
Yeah, but I think they'll probably be mostly salary, if it would be my guess.
Okay.
You know, in all the conversations we've had, it's basically salary and capital. And, the rest of it, I think, you know, we've done a pretty good job of capturing it here, as far as, all the testing that's needed, turnout gear, SCBA stuff, all of that, so. I think we're in good shape. I haven't heard anything from the chief about, you know, 2 years from now, 1 year from now, you're gonna have a big hit, so.
So full-time staffing wise, that we set when we did the override back in 2020, and we added the money to the fire department, we put the equipment back in, everything seems to be working all right there. And we have 52 call firefighters, so is there any need now moving forward for full-time, more full-time, or are we comfortable where we are right now?
I think we're fine where we are right now. But that's today.
Yeah.
You know, it's the model again, like level funding stuff, the model for that, for the call fire department, long-term doesn't work. It's not Grafton, it's a national problem. And it's just, once your calls get to a certain limit, certain number, and that's over 400, the participation level starts to go the other way. Cause it's too much time for people to give. Everybody has another full-time job, and if you're doing 600 fire calls a year, it's, when Roger was on, you were doing, 5 a month.
We would have months with no calls.
Yeah, and now,
And now you get, what, 15 or 20?
well, you're 600 a year, so
Yeah.
That's a lot of calls.
so there's a lot, and there's days you
Almost
go,
2 a day.
So it's, the model long-term is not sustainable. But I think for, a snapshot, today we're fine. A year from now, we may be sitting here telling you we're not, and we need staff. But for right now, it works.
And then having the ambulance separate, we're gonna stay with that model, keep that separate, and where's that contract with that one?
We just renewed for another
Yeah.
3 years.
Perfect.
That's our zero cost.
Oh, nice, nice.
And I think Eric mentioned that there are more firefighters on during the day now than in previous years,
Okay.
so that's a good thing.
We have we have the opposite problem for most towns. Most towns don't get people during the day. We're very fortunate that we have people that wear multiple hats. Myself,
Yep.
guy that works for Darrell. There's a lot of people that, we have people during the day that can go to calls. So,
And at night, we have good staff.
well, nighttime everybody comes. Everybody who's out of town during the day is now back in town. So,
The one thing that we should be having as a town is the town thanking private employers for letting the people go in some sort of recognition for that. I don't know how many there still are, Paul.
yeah,
You know,
there's not
it's-
too many left. That's the unfortunate thing.
Not too many in town.
Yeah, it's the town staff, and then there's a smattering of people that work in odd schedules, so they're home different days of the week versus
Yeah.
others. But
And, equipment wise on the capital plan, we're paying for the leases on the equipment that we have.
Yep.
Any big purchases coming up down the pike?
so there's a brush truck ordered now that'll be here in a year. Engine one, which it'll be 2 years since the day we ordered it, will be here in June.
Isn't that crazy? How long it takes right now?
So those are the two that are on right now. There's another. You're replacing Eric's vehicles on capital.
Yep.
And the inspector's vehicle, which is, if the body doesn't fall off the frame before the truck comes in, they'll be lucky. So that's on as well. So those are the three for right now.
Yeah, and
So-
the engine's not on the capital plan this year because it's been fully funded from last year's. So the first year, because it was so late getting in.
Gotcha.
So there's no additional money this year. It'll be back next year.
It'll be back, and
But-
you
yep.
plan for that for next year?
Yeah, correct, because then the pumper will be off.
Right. Engine
Which
engine
is-
5 or
It's
engine
a
3.
special pumper, I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, we have one coming
which
off
one you have.
this year and one coming off next year.
Correct. So we'll be in good shape as far as lease goes.
Okay,
Yeah,
And-
engine 3 and engine 5 come off.
okay. And building costs, maintaining the station?
Yeah, and on
no
capital, there's station 2 improvements on the capital side.
issues? What are we doing there?
Doors, the envelope first, doors, windows,
Bathroom.
fixing the roofs and leaks, and then it's everything else.
The mechanicals all
the
have to be
mechanicals
replaced?
are all. Yeah.
So do we have a multi-year plan for that?
This is year 2 of the multi-year plan. So
Yeah.
we did 100,000 last year, and we're doing 100,000 this year. And see where we get to. We think it's $200,000. You know, like everything, the cost is not what it was when we started our multi-year plan. So, we'll see, but we'll be pretty close. On our original, the first phase, our prices have been coming in right where they need to be or lower actually, so we're in okay shape there.
Were there penalties in the, are you buying that pump or are you leasing it? Because I was gonna say, if they promise a certain date and it doesn't come in, are there penalties that actually drop the cost?
No, not in this particular case, and I don't know that we're not that far out of what they told us when we ordered it.
Oh, okay.
'Cause I
Yeah,
think they
it's-
said 18
Yeah,
months when we ordered it.
I
and it's
remember
at,
you
like,
saying.
now we're at 24,
Yeah.
so we're within,
It was gonna be November.
yeah.
I mean, we're actually better off in June. The time the truck gets here, you gotta train with it and everything else.
Yeah,
June is a
we're
better
gonna do that in the summertime and the
Yeah.
wintertime.
for sure.
We had we went send out one of our trucks out for a refurb, and it was supposed to take 6 months, and now we're in month 15 waiting for it to come back because they were waiting for one part
Oh yeah.
for the pump, and they couldn't finish it without that part, and it was like a 72-week lead time.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable what's going on with fire equipment right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. All right, any questions on fire? It's pretty. That's a good story. I didn't even notice that had gone down. That's pretty good. No wonder why you're looking like a hero on the budget
I
this
have
year.
nothing to do with it. I'm a strong chief now, so I don't, we didn't touch this.
They leave you right out of there.
Yeah,
No, I mean, we
I mean, when it's good, it was me, but
right. We,
it goes up next year.
to offset some of Mike's work, a bunch of the firefighters, and I know we talked about this last year. We got people, the simple inspections, the 1 and 2 family homes. A bunch of guys took the fire academy class on those inspections, and then Mike Colleen put together a great, binder of kind of a cheat sheet. So he's been able to farm off a lot of that work to just, have somebody go do 3 or 4 inspections a day,
That's good.
which allows him to, to focus on the bigger buildings and other safety issues, so.
All right. We got 45 minutes ahead of schedule now. I don't know how that happened. And then, but I thought I cut back dramatically.
I thought you did too.
I did.
They gave 45 minutes for all of DPW and 45 for fire, so.
Yeah, that was probably too much time, so we'll learn next year when we put this together. So I don't have any other questions for
Who's
fire.
next?
Bob.
Oh,
So why don't we, thank you.
Okay.
Thank
is he
you.
in the building? Can he?
If he's in, yeah.
I'll text him.
If not, we'll just take a quick break.
Quick. 45 minutes.
A quick 45-minute break.
Got lunch order ready?
Thanks for coming in today. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you. See you.
Thanks, guys.
I hope we'll get George Hill Road done before I start having great grandchildren.
I'm working on it.
No, they're not even close.
I was up there and had a lady yell at me that it was better when it was dirt.
It was.
Really?
Well, I said to her, yeah, probably.
I mean, they
She
would
didn't know what
always,
to do with herself. I think she thought I was going to get all offended. I'm like, I don't know. I'm looking at it too. It's horrible.
do you know that road has not been touched for 20 years?
I believe it.
Because they used to come in with the gravel and tar, what's that called?
Oil and tar, chip
Yep,
sealing. Whatever.
Chip sealing.
Yeah.
And they would do that once a year. And then Roger Hammond left and that was the end of anything being done on George Hill
Hey,
Road.
sorry, Sue. Hey, Amber. I don't think Bill's still in the booth.
We need to have a
Can
ton
you
of,
go in there and just, you'll see the computer
To
with the
fill in
Zoom
our
and just
potholes.
minimize
some of them are so big.
the speaker view thing? Because when I'm sharing my screen, you can't see the important part.
You can see the town seal twice, and you can see Greg Marr's name.
Yep.
That's important stuff.
What more do you need?
Is it locked?
Yep.
Do you have your key?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
There's like research on this phenomenon of like when a decision maker role changes to a different person, they're more likely to like acknowledge that a mistake was a mistake or a problem is a problem. So
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah, because I don't want
you
to
weren't here when all those decisions were made.
Right, right. Well, when I was at the Snyder's the first time, and so we get to the property, and Paul's showing me that it's been like this for 10 years, and I'm literally standing, and the trench that's been dug by the water coming off the road is deeper than I am tall. It goes right across the front of their property to the corner of their foundation. And then the road, their driveway just had sandbags across it to channel the water. And the town apparently had said, well, that's your problem, not ours. And then, of course, that's not remotely what the case law says. So I was like, well, I don't know about that. So we were able to, repipe all of it and get it going. There's actually there's a hole in the woods when I went there the first time, stone square, and the water would come across the road and then just disappear into that hole. It was from when it used to be a dairy farm way back, and we didn't even know where that water was showing up again. So.
Oh, we're up at George Hill?
Yeah, yeah. A ton of water. We put a 36-inch pipe in there. It's a ton of water.
Those poor people kept putting up sandbags.
Oh, I know. I felt bad for
Every time I go by, the wall kept getting bigger.
them. We piped it and then we reseeded their lawn and repaved their driveway, so
Happy?
they're happy. Yep.
Good.
She said when we have to start doing work and people have to move their walls and stuff, she'll go door to door for us and tell them that we're not bad people. Thank you, Amber.
How's some of the room on mute right now? Do you want me to
We're on a break.
have any attendees here? But I just don't want to forget to unmute us.
Okay, I'll remind you.
I have to do it from the,
Oh, really?
I can hit mute from here, but I have to hit unmute in there.
Oh,
That's silly.
That's a good system.
hey, at least you can do one of them from here.
It's a system that helps you get your steps in every
Yeah.
day, back and forth.
And Bob's not on there, right?
I really thought I cut back the time sufficiently.
I was shocked you had a schedule past noon. I think we could
Yep.
we could blow this out.
This,
Just
You
because
take our lunch to go. All right, so I'll tell you what,
there's
No.
not a lot of, there's just not a lot of stuff.
there's not a lot
Well-
of excitement this year.
Right? What are we talking about?
well, this thing is nice. And the fact that you get information, from our perspective is nice.
All right, so we got times here, so why don't we, you know something, Evan?
This is
Maybe
jump into
maybe we'll get lunch to go. And, in the meantime, find out if we can bring in the Council on Aging Director earlier than 12:30. If we can reach out to her to see if she wants to come in earlier. And we'll go through your stuff now, Evan, you can walk us through, and Mary, you can walk us through your stuff, and then that way, we will be done by
So
12.
why bother getting lunch?
I guess we can
It's already-
cancel lunch.
I can cancel the order right now if you want me to.
Should we just cancel lunch? All right, we're gonna cancel lunch. So,
Well, don't cancel it
Well,
yet.
yeah, I mean,
but it's
what if-
just a
All right.
thought.
something
Why
happens?
end the meeting at noon?
well, she has to
and
give
then
them
get
more
lunch
advance,
to go?
you gotta give them some advance notice that you're gonna cancel
Yeah.
lunch, right?
Yeah.
You can't call them at 12 o'clock and say cancel the
Oh, by the
order.
way,
just keep your lunch on it. People can either take it with them. If we finish early, they can take it with them. And
All right.
If we fail to meet the deadline, then we can all eat.
yeah, I'm gonna take like 3 hours to go through my budget, so.
All right, so let's,
Eat here, 'cause I gotta
so let's jump into,
unmute.
let's jump into Mary's, sorry.
Wait.
We gotta come up with a new system on the muting and stuff, right?
Where are we going?
We're gonna jump into Mary's,
Okay.
budgets, we're gonna talk about the finance offices, accounting, assessor, treasurer. So what's going on there, Mary? Why don't we
Oh,
start
I
with
see.
accounting?
As host, she can mute the.
So,
Oh, hold on, we gotta wait for, did Amber unmute us?
Yes. we're
Okay.
unmuted.
So, thank you, Amber.
So for the finance departments, the town accountant, the assessor, and the treasurer, we pretty much level funded all the expenses. There was, one thing that I did do with, the assessing department was, in the capital, we had the cyclical inspections, there was a line in the capital, and so I took that out and I made its own department. So we have a reval department, Department 142, which will now be under the assessor. So her interim year line was moved to that department, and then her cyclical, expense line is there as well.
Okay, so that makes sense. So within your department, yours is a contractual increase. Your financial, analyst position, that is a step raise. We just hired that person now?
Yes, we reclassified that position, so that position is a true assistant finance director position now.
Okay. We're gonna rename it?
Yes,
Okay. All right, and then the administrative personnel, that's contractual.
correct.
Okay, so salaries is all contractual and union related. Then everything else seems to be level funded through the,
Yeah, I moved, like, I had some money in repair and maintenance, I don't need it, so I needed it in professional and technical, so I just, moved it.
okay. And then, for your in-state travel dues and memberships, that's for the school out at UMass?
Yes. Yeah, cause now there's 3 of us going.
Yep, no, that's good, that's good. There was classes this week too?
Next week.
Next week. That's right, next week is when it is. Well, while you're out there on Monday, stop by the, Ways and Means, hearing on chapter 78 and go in there and yell at them.
Give her this to
Take.
Yeah. Hammer them for more money. All right, any questions on the town accountant's budget? All right, going into the, assessor's budget, I know you talked about the contractual and the,
You already did assessing.
Yes.
oh, you did that,
So
okay.
basically, yeah, so like I said, I moved, like one of her lines,
Yep.
and I created a new department for her, the interim year, and then I created a new line.
Okay, I'm sorry, that's right, I saw that. I apologize. I'm a little slow this morning, you'll have to
I
forgive me.
think you're talking about the town accountant line, and you're talking about the finance department as a whole.
Right.
I was just going through the department by department. I like how you did that, that makes sense. So you're able, within the ClearGov, you're able to rearrange things and reclassify things pretty easily,
Yes.
compared to what the old system, if you wanted to make a change on a department, you needed a,
Yeah, ClearGov's data team is wonderful. Like, if we have any questions or we want something moved, Evan and I just email them and they itemize the platform for us.
that's good.
They
Yeah, we have a
really
lot of-
tailor it.
A lot of what you see today is based on input from Mary, myself, people like us. No, I'm not saying just the two of us, but people that have been with that company. We've been with ClearGov for 5 years, and so they, I'll say I'm clicking this button and I don't understand what's happening, and they'll come back and say, yeah, that is kind of confusing, and then you'll get the push notification that a change has been made to the software, and they've changed the button.
That's
Pretty
awesome.
cool.
Has ClearGov given you any indication how you can make notes in the budget when you're meeting with your department heads and otherwise it has to be done handwritten?
Yeah, so you could do that. I've turned it off for you guys. Because you know how you are. No. Honestly, I turned it off because there's concern about what you put in your notes and whether or not it becomes an opinion and that it can be read by other people, and now you're communicating outside a public meeting. It's a whole background
So
discussion.
that's the
that's
only
going on.
way we could do it is to that little box that was
Notes, yeah,
there.
that's the only way to do it. Yeah.
So there's no personalized notes that are.
There's
only
all the notes, and that's kind of the point of ClearGov, is to have this.
Yep.
Everything is visible, and you can be transparent, and anything we do, you can see.
Yeah, that's why I said to Eric, he needs to put in next year in his budget, the number of firefighters he
Yep.
has, so that,
And I will say that fire, police, DPW, they did a really good job
Yeah,
with their notes.
right.
You can drill down and see.
right.
I honestly, we didn't even meet about their budget after we had our initial talks, because every question you could have is they've already pre-answered it in there, which is nice.
I went to ask, when Paul was here on the call firefighters, did we give them a COLA?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
yes,
that
they-
goes in every year.
Oh, no, that's what I'm asking.
Automatically, yeah.
So-
We work on their COLAs, yeah.
So we match whatever the unions get, we put in the same thing for the call guys?
Correct.
Ladies? Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Did we do 2 or 3?
It would
We
be
did what we do for everybody
non-union.
non-union, is 2%.
2%, okay.
There's just one thing I wanted to ask you, Mary. Have you put out any, we used to get monthly management reports for all the departments.
Are you not on the, I'll talk with Jared and make sure that the finance committee, you must not be on the email, but we are sending them out.
I can send them to you if you want them.
I'm sorry about that, I'll make sure
I
that.
thought we
Because I wanted to check.
You do.
We got one
Sometimes you do get them.
I get them every once in a while.
Yeah.
Not consistently.
Yeah, not
We got a
consistently.
big dump of the
It's
past
been
few
a long
months.
time.
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah, he was a
Just a
little
couple days
behind,
ago.
we'll get better at that once
Cause when
a
I
month.
met with department heads, I wanted to check where their current status is with their budget, and some of them didn't even know they hadn't checked, so. But
Okay, I'll work on that with Jared.
Okay, treasurer's office doesn't appear to be, this appears to be a decrease in there too. What, is that similar to what you did with the other departments? You reclassifying things around, or? Because it went down significantly. Professional and technical went down huge, and that was the
34.
that was the cut. So why did we cut professional tech? Did we put that someplace else?
Yeah, some of that was offset in the software for, Vadar.
Oh,
That's in the IT.
Cause they were charging it off.
to the various departments.
To the various
And so you're putting it into one
Yeah.
area, okay.
Yep.
So the overall cost is the same, it's just reallocated
Yeah, it
separately.
went somewhere else. Yep.
Okay, that makes sense, that makes sense.
The rest of that is just salary changes.
So with regards to the, staffing within the treasurer's office, we still got what,
Stays the same.
3 full-time and a part-time? Is that what was in there last year?
Yeah, so there's, basically there's about 4 full-timers, so
4
there's,
full-time, okay.
yeah, one works 30 hours, so
Gotcha.
just shy.
Considered full-time,
Yeah.
yep. Okay, so the reason for the decrease is we took that software cost off and we moved it to another budget.
Correct.
All right. Do you oversee let's talk about human resources, because I know that was an
Can I
issue.
just ask a
Go ahead,
question?
please.
Are we keeping up with our tax collection? Do we have past
Yeah.
due? We've been good about collecting all that,
Yes.
Yeah, I think we're 95%
Yep.
collection rate.
95%?
Yeah.
That's good,
It's 95 or 96.
That's good.
okay.
Where it hovers around there, depending on the year.
How's the, meant to ask that the other day, we have the lockbox versus the people coming in. Do you know, you probably don't off the top of your head,
Not at the top of my head.
but the lockboxes, are more people migrating to that to pay their taxes than coming in?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
I
there's
will-
not that many.
No, but I will tell you that compared to my previous experience, there's a lot more people that come to the building to pay their taxes.
Really?
So we added the drop box out front, and we can see it from where we are, and there's a steady stream of people all, especially when you get within that window of a couple weeks to due date, and there's a
People
lot of
like to come here.
Yep. It's mostly, say, the older generations, I would say, just anecdotally, but yeah, we get a fair amount of foot traffic.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Have we had tax abatements? Any tax abatements? An
So
increase?
the Board of Assessors works on the tax abatements.
Oh,
It
correct.
hasn't
Do we have-
really deviated from,
Okay,
not in any substantial way.
Okay.
It's kind of the same amount, maybe some new folks, but not a ton. I think we have that pretty well in hand, and we are starting to work a little bit more diligently on tax title, so we inherited quite a bit of tax title. We've done one tax title auction since getting here.
How much did you sell off?
So we haven't done that at all. We haven't, Grafton's not selling off, it's,
Oh, you're not?
no.
Oh, we sell ours off.
Yeah, so we're currently talking about how to move our tax title program forward. But the other thing is, so we had one house that we decided to just move forward on individually, and I think we sold it for
250.
$250. We needed $76,000 to cover the.
Oh, wow.
What do you do with the rest of it?
Right in the general fund.
Yeah,
No,
Oh, boy.
It has to sit in the foreclosure, fund for 5 years until someone
It's
comes
waiting for
forward.
me.
Oh, I thought it was a year. They had a year to
Wow,
redeem. They
5
changed that to
years?
5
yeah,
years?
5 years. But we're just waiting for my renewal of my contract, so leave that to the side. No, but that one really,
Yeah.
that one really well.
And the treasurer collector, she has implemented new changes, like we try to work with the taxpayer right now. Like we'll give them, a payment program, and we try to do that before we even put them in tax title.
Yeah, we haven't. This was The one we just did was the first house I've ever done that had someone living in it.
Oof.
And I'm not, I don't wanna say but. So, and, this particular person had never paid the mortgage, they weren't listed on the house, it was like a squatting situation, so it was a little bit different than, you know, if Mrs. Smith's trying to age gracefully in her home and can't make ends meet, we're not coming after your house. You know,
No.
we're gonna work with you, we'll move heaven and earth to help you do that, but this was a different situation.
That's crazy. Wow.
Who would think today somebody's gonna just move into a house?
Yeah, and they've been there.
That's how I got my house.
Finished it, Mark just moved.
I just moved right in.
Never left.
Okay, so human resources, how's that working out?
Pretty good. So Mary and I pretty much co-manage human resources. She does all the payroll and benefits, and I do all the people side.
Yep.
And so you'll notice that there's a substantial increase in salaries. So we added a benefits coordinator position that does benefits for town and school.
Okay.
And we're carrying the entire salary on our side.
Now, I saw in the school budget the other day, he's got a full-time HR person too.
He did.
What does that person do?
They do the human side of it, basically, if you know what I mean. The
Yeah.
personnel management side, the onboarding, I think he does
Recruitment.
disciplinary stuff, recruitment.
Right.
And that's the same thing your full-time person does, and then the benefit?
She does not, I do all of that.
So what is that, what do we do with our full-time
She's
HR?
doing basically the other side of your benefits, payroll, she's managing all of that.
Okay, and then
Yeah,
the,
she's actually processing our payroll.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so between the two of them, because now that we're doing the schools as well, you know, that pretty much eats up their,
So our human resource department is 3 people, basically, when you think about it.
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
She's got big payroll.
Big payroll. We've implemented a lot of changes, and
You're bi-weekly, right?
so I mean, I'm very happy with how that's playing out.
Yeah, no, put together a good plan
she does-
last year.
And I don't want to take anything away from Krista. She does some of the lower level personnel things. Like most people's first stop is her, because a lot of this stuff can just be worked out by understanding what the contract says, or oh no, that's not how it is. Let me give you this sheet, and that grievance is gone.
Yeah,
But anything over that comes to me.
all right. So the benefits coordinator position is the additional
Correct.
cost in the budget.
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions on human resources? All right, so the next, I'm just gonna go right down the list if that's okay,
Whatever
Evan.
you'd like to do.
So next is, IT.
I don't think Bob's seen it now. IT, you'll see a slight reduction from my end. Slight reduction overall.
So you didn't get a new computer this year? Is that why it went down, or?
Oh, I'll get a new computer this year. You don't worry about it. No, the contract that we got for 3 years came in lower than what we were paying piecemeal. So that's a big benefit for us. We also moved. We moved some stuff around. You'll see. Let's see, for the services, this is your contractual decrease here. We also moved. Why is that going up as negative 70%?
Because you moved it.
Because you moved it to
You moved it
professional
down.
and
Ah,
tech.
yeah, there it is.
So
Okay.
that's where CM&T will live.
Yep. So it's really just moving stuff around and then the contract coming in lower. Other than that, we haven't done anything.
So in terms of the contract, what do you get for that? A person a day, a week, once a week,
2
twice?
days a week in-house, 24/7 remote technical service type stuff, and then project management, things like that. Anything that's beyond maintenance. So they're doing our patch management, our security, other stuff.
So within the budget, you have, the professional and technical, I take it that's what pays the dude.
Yes.
And then you have a $15,000 equipment line.
Yes.
You're only replacing $15,000 worth of equipment each year?
Yeah. So don't forget what.
Doesn't your computer take up half of that?
At least. Did you see
Then
my
the game
screen?
subscriptions.
I saw your screens.
No. So we're in pretty good shape technology wise. We spent a lot of money that first year and a half. We added an SMA device. We upgraded firewalls. We really brought this place along. We had security issues you could drive a truck through.
Yep.
So, you know, we're pretty stable there. We've pretty much every position on the town side has a laptop. They have full remote capability. So our next big push is probably going to be migrating the fire department over into our better systems, and then, you know, just kind of routine stuff.
So if you replace, you know, you probably want to replace a laptop, what, every 3 years? Or
Yeah,
never
we're
use?
probably on a 5-year track here.
So when you come to those replacements, is it out of this, or do you have a capital line that you do
Nope, it's
that?
out of this
And that's enough money to do it, huh?
for right now. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that, you know, the other thing that we do that I think saves us a lot of money is when we get to a point where, you know, the person's laptop's 3 years old and it's a little slow, and it has you know, a regular HDD drive, we'll throw an SSD in there, and maybe
Hope it.
upgrade the RAM or something, and now we're good for another 3 years. We've gotten more legs out of computers than I think other approaches do, where they
Yeah.
take that laptop and
Yeah, that's the
Frisbee.
usual way to do it. That sounds like a much better way.
yeah, I mean, there's limits to it. We'll make the decision as we go, but we're paying, you know, maybe $1,200 per laptop setup at this point. So
That's not too
we've
bad.
done okay.
I remember how long it took us to get poor Sue a laptop, remember? How long it took us to get her
And
one?
they got her a used one.
And then they bought her a used one.
Yeah.
It was a disaster.
It
You're
was
lucky you
not.
came in after the fact, I'll tell you.
That was my computer that Amber's using.
And you get the hand-me-down?
That's
We
how.
got one.
Actually, Mary's computer was also mine.
Poor Sue's was.
You know, you're just
older
like
than
me.
that.
I think it's an administrative thing, because every year I say, get me a new laptop. He goes, you don't need a new laptop. I said, I want a new laptop.
And then I pushed
And
it
push
out.
mine out, yeah, that's what I do, yeah.
Right. I'm
I like that.
piloting different technology.
You're just making sure they work properly before you
Actually,
set them up.
this will be funny too. William's computer is also my old one.
You've been here 2 years.
I know. Well,
He wants new computers more frequently than you do.
we were figuring out what we were gonna buy, honestly, long term, whether we because that's one's a Surface, one's a Dell, one's a Lenovo. So
You're funny.
I'm used to this. Evan did this to me in Munson with his cell phones, and so now.
You got the hand-me-down cell phones?
just we don't have to go through the whole.
Well, you know, Evan, we have about 45 minutes to kill,
Well,
so feel
let's just
free.
say we're saving money.
Yes,
Yes.
cost saving.
I like
Being
that.
frugal.
We're being frugal.
That's right.
All right, copiers, no change there, level funded, the leases have stayed the same.
Yeah, we actually.
Added, because
We-
there
we-
was capacity.
Right, well, and so we got all new copiers, saved money on the leases, and actually added 2, I think.
Yeah.
within
How
the
are we
same budget.
doing things before?
I don't know.
I don't
hard
understand
way.
how things can change so dramatically.
Finance committee used to go to Staples to get our
I know,
Stuff done.
budgets printed up.
and we felt guilty doing it.
I know. I got a lot
Well,
of
we
credit
weren't
for that.
allowed to run them off.
We weren't allowed to use the copy, we have to like book an appointment.
Yeah.
Can we use it on a Tuesday at 3:15?
And we could
For
only
10
copy
minutes.
so
Yeah,
much, so
till
when it came to the
3:17.
budget,
Till 3:17,
we were
that's right.
Staples.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. So we're in pretty good shape copier wise. I think there's only one in this building that didn't get replaced, and that's because it was only a year old or 2 years old. That was because when I started, I think the senior center had to come to the assessor's office
Yeah, so we just
to make
got them.
copies.
Yep.
So I just added one there when I started. But
All right.
Do we have,
So-
with IT, we have up-to-date servers? Have we?
yeah, so we're going to be looking probably at a RAID server for the fire department, which is going to offload some of our traffic here as backup. But rather than replace the entire server in the fire department to handle just their data, they're going to talk back to here, and we're going to talk back to there, and just mirror our.
Are we looking to go cloud-based, or we still?
We have a lot of cloud-based stuff. Right now, we're as of last Thanksgiving, we're going to be switching over to Office 365. We're a little behind on that project. So once we do that, everyone has access to OneDrive, and that'll sync up with our server stuff. So we'll be backing up some stuff to the cloud. I also have a cloud backup that is fractionally shared across the United States. So we do that nightly. So we have our data protected. So even if we did get ransomware, in theory, we could just
Pull it up.
wipe that server and
Bring
start
it
over.
back. That's what happens.
So
Yeah.
so yeah, we're in none of that was happening. We were backing up to when I started. We were backing up to the fire department, and when I went to look at that server, It had 4 drives, only one was spinning, and it was reading fault. So our backup was virtually non-existent. So that was a call I made right away, and we went straight to cloud from that day forward.
I don't
That,
understand
that
how
server
we,
was 2009.
how did we survive without, I'm surprised the systems didn't just
Lucky.
blow
Oh,
up.
you definitely got lucky because the patch management was years behind. It was in
So now we're in the 21st century finally?
yeah, I'm pretty happy with where we are. I mean, there's a couple things I'd like to do. We just rolled out multi-factor authentication. So if you're off-site, you have to use your phone to get the code to put into here to be able to even hit our
I
server.
think we have a TA who truly understands IT stuff.
A little bit,
You might be right.
a little bit.
Well, congratulations on that. That's a heck of an improvement.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very proud of that one. We did a lot of work. In a short
And
amount
not a
of
lot of money.
No, we did pretty good.
You did very good.
Yeah.
Not pretty good, very
Yeah.
good. Extremely good.
Well, you can find Tuesday nights. Sometimes I'm in the server room repatching things because it's messy and it drives me nuts. So we're making progress there too.
So did you miss your calling? You should have been an IT guy
I
instead
don't
of
know.
a...
I did this in the last town too. I would be in there and I bundled everything and labeled everything. It just makes it easier. I didn't have to call IT. If the server went down at 9 o'clock, I could just do it myself.
Go ahead.
You know,
They don't let me near anything IT. No, stay out.
we in-house we repatch all our cables. Actually, Bob Berger makes cables and puts the ends on them, and so.
Has the IT committee been helpful to you for goals or?
Yeah, I mean, I think they could be more helpful, but I think that's a me problem and not a them problem. I don't know that I've offloaded that responsibility on them. Partially because I don't mind the IT side. I like to do.
Sounds like
It's
you
a
enjoy
welcome
it.
distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. I see somebody get out of their car in the parking lot. I run in the
boom.
server room, start patching. No, you know, I think they could be doing more. I just haven't figured out how to do that yet. It's a hard thing to give up that piece of control when you're
I get you.
used to
Because
doing
you've
it.
got a lot of IT guys and some young ones who
Oh yeah,
know a lot.
yeah, yep, absolutely. And they've been very helpful when we've talked about, especially multi-factor authentication, different security protocols. You know, it's just different. It's interesting because a lot of them are private sector. So when we talk about like, you know, our website security, and I keep trying to explain that it literally doesn't matter because it's all public documents. Like, what if somebody takes over your website and steals all that data? Well, we have it all. It's all public record. So, you know, I mean, it would cost us some labor to get it all
Yeah.
back, but it's not like we're doing things in the background that's not public.
Yep.
It's all public. So,
No company secrets to steal.
not really.
All right, so jumping into the municipal center, how many full-time custodians do we have?
We have 4.
And that's a contractual increase?
We added basically half a custodian, made our part-time go up to full-time, and that's really to augment the library.
Yep.
We also just this week picked up. We're now doing the school department upstairs as well with our staff to try to help out because Jay has the 18 to 22 program, so he's going to take those hours, have them in the 18 to 22 program, and we're going to just do his side.
Easy enough. And that's a good increase.
Yeah.
Plus you maintain the building, it's your building, so.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't really know we weren't over there. He's like, can we do this? I understand if you say no. It's like, we're not doing that now.
So looking at the paying the utilities and things like that, are you expecting a major increase there, or how you dealing with that?
In the municipal center budget,
Yeah.
I think that we've adequately covered that. We're doing okay with what we have.
Okay.
So we did go up, our communications went up 18%, but that's because that's where we're holding the mail-in ballot line right
Okay.
now. So that's really more connected to the clerk's office. But otherwise, yeah, I think we're in okay shape.
So it's there instead of under elections?
Elections or clerks?
Yeah, for now. Well, it's again, it's one of those things that comes up, and then you're like, "What? How did that get there?" And so
Yeah.
we'll move it out, but This is where it is today.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the overall 11% increase in the budget is the line to assist in managing the HVAC infrastructure,
Correct.
the cost of living increase, and then
The part.
bumping up the
Yep.
part-time to
The
full-time to take over the school
Correct.
piece.
Correct.
Correct.
In the HVAC line, really, I mean, our HVAC infrastructure here is getting older. We're just spending more time fixing.
Yep.
problems.
All right, so then into the unclassified, if we can move on to that.
Can I just ask one
Go ahead,
question real
please.
quick? On our HVAC,
Yes.
did you ever find out how much debt we still owe on Honeywell?
We did. And now I don't remember.
Are we close to ending that?
Yeah, I think we are. We either are ended or we're close. Let me go back through my email and find where that one was, because I did get an
Okay.
answer for you,
Okay,
and I probably just said, well, I'll remember to tell Sue. Now I don't recall that at all. So we'll
because I think we had $1 million in there for debt for 10 or some years.
yeah.
It
Well,
should
and the
be almost-
systems we're plus 10 years now.
Yeah,
So I don't believe we're paying anything on Honeywell.
okay.
I did, when I got here, the Honeywell server was 2008 software. Can't be upgraded. So that's another thing that's on the list. We virtualized it, so it's working, but we're gonna have to do something eventually to.
Remember the big deal that was made over all that?
Oh.
Oh, God, that was.
Yes.
Yeah, don't rub salt in an open.
I don't mean to rub
Well, yeah.
salt, but I want to rub salt in the open.
Yeah.
Well, it was a big mistake.
It was,
So
and
we don't owe any money on it. That we can tell you for sure.
Okay,
I just
good.
don't know the date of when it was.
Because I was
when it was
thinking that
ended.
the debt should be paid off
Oh,
by
yeah,
now.
like,
Yeah,
I don't have any debt for Honeywell, I haven't seen like any expenses come through.
okay, because I know we had $1 million in the operating budget, but it should have been done by now, I would
Yeah.
think, so.
Yeah, it's not it's
Yeah, I'm
not
not
currently
aware.
coming out because we don't have a line.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Talking to Bob about the, was it 25 grand?
Yeah.
He's using that for the electrical system here too, isn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it all ties.
Yeah.
It all ties back in. I mean, we've got really old. We've
Yeah,
done
there's
a lot of
original
work on
equipment here.
The panels and stuff. We're actually in the process of doing a hot water heater right now, which is $26,000 because it's a huge building. But
Was there discussion, I thought I heard discussion about sprinklers?
yep.
System?
So I backburnered that for
Okay.
now.
well, that cost must have been what, $500,000?
At least, well, here's the first problem was that it was 25,000 was requested to do the design. The lowest bid we got was 92,000.
Oh, jeez.
Whoa,
So we're gonna circle back to that.
my God.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah,
we
that's-
think design is usually 10%. So I bet you we're at $1 million.
It's a
for
good-
Oh,
sprinkler this-
for sprinklers, that, yes.
yeah.
Yeah, this, how many square feet is this?
Yeah, I don't know. I want to say
bunch.
53,000, but that might not be right, including
Wow.
the senior center.
Wow,
When Bob jumps on, we can double check.
okay. All right, so going into any other questions, Sue?
No, I'm fine,
Okay.
thanks.
Going into unclassified, Worcester County's going up 9%, that's normal increase. FICA, the 2% I take it is because of salary increases, you're anticipating that across the
Correct.
board. Group life stays the same, group health, congratulations on a 5% increase.
Yeah.
On that, that's outstanding, wow, that's really controlling the budget for you, which is nice.
What were you expecting before on that?
8.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a nice, that came in nice for
And
you.
the part that doesn't even begin to really show on that is our increase is 4.3%, but they're also taking over the entire HRA program.
Yep.
So that frees up our human resource benefits person. Also, we were paying everyone's deductibles as part of previous
transition,
negotiation, and now we're not going to be doing that. So
That's the overall
it's
savings.
all included in there. Yeah,
That's nice.
That's nice.
That's nice.
We're very happy.
All right, so now the compensation reserve, the 90 grand, is there outstanding union negotiations, or what are we holding that 90 grand for? Should I not ask that question?
So we hold
You're
it
You let the cat out of the bag.
always with this guy. No.
for retirees
Yeah.
and, or, just salary changes, like there's a lot of employees here in Grafton, and You know, we had an employee go out, a department head on maternity leave, and so we need coverage, and so that's.
That's what we use this for?
Yes, yep, to
Okay.
cover that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'll keep my questions to myself.
There you go.
moving forward. Thank you. And then the unemployment, the 75,000, that's for school and town, not
Correct.
not
Yep.
just town, okay.
Correct.
But the compensation reserve, that's just the town side.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we do have 2 retirements coming up. So rather than adjusting the line items of the budget every year to house it, we just keep it in there and pull it over.
Yep. So it's hard, how do you track, obviously it's all one pool of money, the overall town budget, but is there any other allocation that you do on the municipal side to show what the impact is from the school side on the municipal side? Do you keep track of that separately?
We do, in our indirect cost tracking. Yeah.
Okay.
Does the school give you heads up when they know someone's retiring, so you have an idea? No?
Not really. But we also haven't asked for that, to be honest with you. I mean, we've been living where we are,
Yep.
and it's been okay.
Okay.
If it becomes an issue, I'm sure they would. But, I mean, it's one of
It's
the
not gonna
things
be a
that's hard
mass
to get
retirement.
people to understand is like, even when you're talking about, we were talking about the counselor position, which I agree 100% is definitely needed. You know, they add a position at $60,000. It's not $60,000. It's $60,000 for them and $25,000 for us.
Yeah, because the health insurance goes up
Right.
and everything else
Yeah.
goes up, yeah.
Exactly. So, that's something we've been trying to educate people on, especially when we start talking about override dollars and, you know, it should be, that's only for the schools. Well, yes, but some of their decisions have impacts over here.
Well, when we,
So-
you know, obviously we're gonna have an override discussion, not next year, because you feel good about that, but the following year, we're gonna have to start talking about it, and it should just be for the overall increase in the town budget, not this goes to schools, this goes to town. The overall town budget needs to be funded. Now, obviously, the school increase is usually more
Yeah.
than the town increase, but you're right, that 60,000 on the town on the school side is a 25
Right.
cost for you, so you have to account for that. So you
Right.
can't say all the money needs to go to the
Right,
school.
which is, you know, and I've been.
I just want to fund things. I just want to fund things
Right,
accurately.
right, and I think, not, just to be clear, my conversations with Jay and Anita and Mary, we're all on that.
Oh, I know you are.
page,
I know
right?
you are.
We don't have
Which is
any-
excellent.
We don't have any conversations that would lead me to believe otherwise. I think it's just important to note that, you know, if the town side of the budget's gonna be 40% of new growth and 2.5, and the schools is gonna be that 60% plus what was in the override, and all of their decisions cost us $200,000. Well, now we're, you know, a third of the money we were gonna use is
What-
It's gone.
I give you a compliment right now. The culture has really changed over the last 2 years, and Sue will tell you, and Heather will tell you, and Dan. It was always us versus them, and it was always, well, they got this, and they increasing this, and they're doing that. I like the fact that you have brought it back. We're one. We're one government. We're one budget, and we're working cooperatively. And the communication between you and Jay is outstanding.
Yeah.
And I think that's important.
Thank you. Yeah, Jay makes it easy, to be honest.
Yeah, Jay.
Oh, he's a-
makes it
he's a great
easy.
guy.
And there was one year that, a former TA put their health insurance all on their budget,
Oh.
and that didn't go over well. Do you remember that year?
I
They
do.
put-
I do.
And it was removed the following year, but, yeah, they decided that they were gonna pay their health insurance out of their budget,
Yeah.
which doesn't make any sense anyway, so.
I just remember that, you know, how come they get this and we only get that? And I'm so glad. And that's also from the select board level, which has risen up from you, and the school committee level, which has risen up from, well, it's always that case with Jay, but now it's not us versus them.
Right.
Which is so, it's nice. It's a real pleasure to
And I
deal
think
with
it's
this stuff.
because you've explained things a lot better, and people understand things better.
Yeah, we're trying to. I still struggle, and I've actually been working on it in my spare time to develop a better way to present things, especially to the school committee.
Yeah.
That shows, you know, this is where the money goes, and this is what our indirect costs are,
Right.
and this is,
That never happened.
you know,
That's
and
right.
we are doing a lot of things, I think, to help the schools, like we, you know, the benefits position, that's entirely on our side of the house. SRO is entirely on our side of the house, you know, health insurance, all that,
Yeah.
we do all of that, and it's just important to be able to explain that, you know, the school needs more money, just remember that all your decisions impact the other side.
Of course.
And I think you're the first TA that ever attended a school committee member meeting to talk about the budget.
Yeah.
And
That was
answer
huge the other
questions.
night when he was there.
Yes.
That was
That has
huge.
never happened
Yeah.
before.
It was my second year, and they seem to enjoy it as well. So it's good. And I also, I've met with school committee members that want to come, and
Yep.
we throw it up on one of my large screens in the office, and it's all right there. I mean,
Right.
even with ClearGov, you can see every
Yep.
single keystroke that we've entered to change anything,
Yep.
when that was done and who did it. So, it's as transparent as I think we can be.
It's phenomenal. It's outstanding. You want to come up, sir?
Bob, we already did the municipal center while you were en route,
Okay.
so make that a little easier for you.
Yeah, and we're happy to see the way that budget is working really, really well. So Bob, you want to start off? We'll just go down the list that we have it here, if it's okay with you, by department number. So first is ZBA. You want to talk to us about ZBA?
Yeah, ZBA, I have the spreadsheet in front of me. I can't see that. So Katrina's pay went up and we got 4.1. Basically, all the budgets are really level funded except for the commitments we have with the contract and step increases with the COLA. So that's gonna be the same thing I'm gonna say on all these budgets.
So we've level funded expenses and we've accounted for increases based on union negotiations and such.
And you can see it in the spreadsheet. So that's zoning board of appeals.
So so with regards to the various projects, the LIP projects and some of those 40B, friendly 40B things that we're doing, has there been any need to increase personnel or have we been able to handle that with current staff?
We have intermittently brought in a consultant to help ease some of that, just because the building department they're pretty slammed. It's a lot of growth in Grafton
Yep.
right? And so, the bigger projects have a more marginal impact because we do use some third-party reviewers.
The bigger projects, the $15 million projects, the $60 million projects, fire department doesn't have the personnel to do the plan review for fire safety, sprinklers and fire alarm. So that goes out to third-party review. Also, some of the 780, that's the building code, goes out for third-party review. And the beauty of that is we put that liability right on the contractor or the developer.
The
So
developer.
we don't pay for it. We don't even get a check. It doesn't filter through the town. It's just paid right to the developer.
When you bring in the consultant that you use, do you do it through that state grant program?
No,
So we're paying for that. And
Correct.
where do you find the money for that in the budget?
usually either my P&T or somewhere else.
Okay.
We move it around. I'll just, if they're, I would rather, help the building department stay current, and that's not the greatest word, just stay, moving forward, than, fund something else out of P&T.
But we're like the post office. Permits go out, but one go out, 10 come in.
Yeah, it's been
It-
pretty, it is, I will say, it is it's a busy shop.
All right. Wow, you're spending too much money on the farmers, Farnhamsville.
Firehouse.
We are.
Way too much
I
money.
know.
We need to get that under control, Bob.
I know.
All right.
I know.
South Grafton Community House, in terms of the, the capital stuff, I know last year you were trying to get some money and we ran into a little bit of a roadblock.
Yeah, we got ARPA money for it, though.
So that's how we did that work?
Yep.
And so how's the building? Is it in good shape?
Bob can probably speak to it more. We haven't started the ARPA side of the project, but
The building needs outside work, paint, rot, but we also still have maybe $100,000 worth of other projects that we have to look at eventually. I want to replace the handicap ramp in the front. I want to put a boiler in just to put glycol lines in that handicap ramp because through the year we'll lose it on ice, and once it ice up, we can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
So, and the concrete's just deteriorating. So I think our best bet is when we can fund that, rip it apart, put a boiler in the basement. That boiler is just to heat that handicap walkway, and it'll work with the weather and the temperature. And then when it gets cold and gets icy, the boiler's going to kick in, and it's going to heat the concrete, and we won't have that problem again. That's just one of the projects that we have going on.
The design of the building obviously added accessibility after, so
Right.
it just is the roof sheds onto the walkway and then it freezes and then.
And then it's light, then it's
and
dark.
We have the Legion in there, or the
We have the Legion in, we have, the other group that's in the back room, the Nibbucks.
so the Nipmucks rent the back room
Yep.
as like their quasi headquarters, and then we have some veterans that utilize the other side.
That's a pretty small budget operational wise for the building. $21,000 isn't a lot, but then the capital you're doing through opera.
Yeah.
A lot of that budget was covered by people who
Volunteered their time.
volunteered and put their own money
Money
into that
into the
building.
building.
A lot of money went into that building from.
That was Phil Gauthier.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was,
Well, it was also.
Skip.
Skip.
oh yeah,
Also
that's
put
right.
a lot of money into that building, so.
Yep.
There's a lot of skips going on.
Not me.
Down.
There's a lot of skips.
My brother.
Oh, really?
No, Skip McNabbich.
No.
Oh, okay. I'm reminded of the what's that show? The Bob Newhart.
Yeah, yeah. Daryl.
Daryl and my brother.
My other
Larry,
brother, Daryl.
Larry.
My other brother Daryl.
This is Skip and his brother Skip.
All right, so that takes care of those two buildings, which is great. We talked about municipal, so Bob, into your budget?
It's just like I said, it's basically level funded if you look down the list. Except for, the pay increases with the COLA.
Yep.
Right.
Do we have a retirement coming up within your department?
Sorry.
We do.
Yep, so that's a local inspector, so we'll fill that position, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Don't call, I'm not suggesting we don't, Bob, so don't worry. I said obviously.
Yeah.
His head snapped up.
I know, I was like, what are you talking about?
It's same with the gas. I'm just going down the
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
same list.
Yep,
In the plumbing.
yep,
Might as well just keep on going.
yep, seal the weights and measures.
No, not me.
Not you,
No.
that's you,
That's
all right?
me.
I always say that. Nope, not me. Wiring the same. Now, what you don't have, because I just wanted to see where we are, and I could provide this to you guys at any time. This is where we are to date on the accounts that we bring money in. So gas inspections right now, and we're a little bit over half the year because this is fiscal. Gas inspections, we brought in 16,000. Plumbing, we brought in 17. Wiring, we brought in 34. Mechanical, we brought in 10. Trench, 800. Building permits, 400 and let's say $90,000. Home occupation, 750. Public building, 1,700. Those are the bars that we inspect every year, so they can go in front of the select board and get their alcohol license. Wood stoves, 500. Zoning permits, those are sheds, 500. Reinspection fees for mechanical, 1,000. Building, 750. Electrical, 3,600. Plumbing, 760. Gas, 100. Zoning violation restitutions, 5,877. I don't know where we got the 500 or 5,000. It's somewhere.
The 400,000 that you took in building permit.
409.
490 that you took in, but sorry. Year over year comparison, is this the best year, medium year, same year,
Well,
average year?
I've been tracking this for 22 years now. So you can see it here, and it's gradually going up. I think last year we did 600, maybe 700,000.
So you're tracking right now close to 800,000.
I think my projection is going to be 1.2 to 1.4 for this fiscal year.
Oh, wow.
Because I have one complex that has 4 buildings, and each one of those, just building permits now, each one of those permits is $160,000.
Oh.
So we just got one permit for that. The 8 Pine Street, we made a deal with 8 Pine Street because they're paying $400,000 for their third party review and their inspections. So That's a $60 million job, so that should have been a $600,000 permit, but through the negotiating,
Sure.
they're 250 once they pay for that permit. So I'm figuring, you know, let's say that goes through Pulte Homes, the front and the back. I'm thinking 1.4 this year. Cause on,
Is that a record year?
that's gonna be a record year. Last year was a big year, which was the 700, and now we're just bouncing off of that.
When you did your estimated receipts for building permits for next year, what did you put in the number? I know you told me the other day when we met with you, I don't remember what you
Let
had.
me, just give me one.
Do you remember off the top of your head, Greg?
No, I'm looking.
I think it was like 150,000.
Yeah.
You increased it 150,000, so you're carrying 800,000 from the previous year?
Well, I will pull that up now and we'll.
Because you don't, because
License
obviously
permits,
the,
500,000, 550.
okay, so
Thank
that builds you free cash, which is good, and goes back to what you were saying to us the other day, that you're building your budget conservatively.
Right.
So, and plus, once the building slows down, that 1.4 will be back down to a normal year between 500,000 and 700,000, so you want to be careful
Yeah, I mean, I
with that.
think we're probably years away from that.
I think we're 3 years away.
Yeah.
With the projects that I'm seeing and the phasing that they're in, I think we're gonna now, our norm is gonna be right now between 8 and 1.2.
Wow.
That's what but you know, I don't have the crystal ball, but that's what I'm seeing with the zoning board of appeals, with planning board. I mean, Pulte Homes off of Institute Road, I have 49 houses going there. I don't think they're gonna build all 49 this year, but those permits, 4,000 square foot houses. So those permit fees are $8,000 a pop.
Building permits alone for next year is 330.
All right, so now I'm feeling better about next year. You, every time you hear this information, it makes it more, I like the way you're building the budget,
It's easier to do it this way than to
the other way around.
tell you.
Yeah.
we're
Oh,
$1
yeah.
million and-
No, I
By the
agree with
way,
you.
Become a
chopper,
wealthier
chopper, chopper.
community. Mark,
What's that?
now we're gonna become even a wealthier community with 12,000 square feet.
Less money,
Yeah, yep.
less money coming from the state. Unbelievable. All right, so building, cool, gas, plumbing, wiring, everything seems to be, moving in the right direction. And the money that comes in far exceeds the cost of the operation, which is amazing,
Absolutely.
Right.
which is amazing.
And I think I told you this, Mark, when we were meeting kind of one-on-one. We are still, we're contemplating when we have our retirement, adding some part-time hours there.
Yep.
And retaining the retiree, because he's got a
Wealth of experience,
knowledge,
yep.
and will then help onboard and train the new person and all of that. So it was in the original budget proposal. We've backed it out for the time being, but there will be, I will be coming back.
You
on
had said that,
conversation.
you had said that when we met the other day.
Yep.
So,
I think it makes sense. I think we've got the revenue coming in from the department.
oh, absolutely.
It's just a matter of trying to get our budget to where we want it to be when we're.
Sure. Let me ask you this question. When is the retirement scheduled for?
Thinking December.
Yeah.
All right, so it'll be sometime next year.
Sometime next year. The meeting I had with the employee was just that it's gonna be sometime, and we have that clause in our bylaw that says if you don't submit before January 1, then you don't get your severance, which I don't personally agree with,
Yeah, I
but
know, we should fix that.
we should fix that. And actually, I talked to Dave
Bylaw
about
review
fixing
committee
that.
coming up.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm sure you guys are looking at that, okay?
Well,
Yeah. I had,
we're looking at the whole
We're
thing,
wait- we're
Mark,
waiting for
everything
his,
from the
his
beginning to the
submission.
very end.
Yeah.
Yep, that's true. You're right, yep.
Greg worked in that I haven't given the submission yet. So anyways, long story short, it'll be sometime in the next year.
it's a big rewrite, so.
Yeah.
And I don't wanna put any pressure on the employee. I did let them know that if they decided not to, and they're gonna stay another, we're gonna work with them, we're not.
No, he has a hard date.
Yeah.
He's met with all the people that he
Oh,
had to
has he?
meet with.
Last
yeah.
He's gone to the retirement board and all that stuff. so-
Last-
Well, he met with them, he got a figure, he has a date,
Okay.
so,
I haven't firmed the date with him yet.
right, cause I don't think he's ready to, but he's ready.
He's ready, but he's not ready.
Well, let's put it this way, are we on camera?
Yeah.
Are we on camera?
We are.
Oh, then I can't say his wife's ready.
She's filed the paperwork for him.
I don't know what it is, he doesn't know either.
All right, do we talk cable with you? Wanna talk cable?
You can talk cable.
Let's talk cable. What's going on with cable?
we put a budget in based on what our needs were. I don't have that figure in front of me,
I'm gonna pull it up.
but we basically
number?
bring in so much money from our contribution between Charter and Verizon that it more than covers. And I don't think we went for the 440, but it could be the $440,000 for the operations.
I know I asked you this question last year, I'm gonna ask it again. Are we seeing a decrease in the fees that we're getting from Charter and
No.
Verizon?
No, we're really not.
Really?
We're really not. I mean, but Verizon has 2/3 of the share and Charter has 1/3. But I'm still getting that $380,000 a year coming in.
That's awesome.
Mark, are you thinking about like cord cutting?
Yeah, it's cord cutting that we're all worried about cord cutting.
Exactly,
And what's
that's
gonna
what I'm
happen is if everybody cuts the cord, Congress is gonna have to figure this out. Because it's not just Grafton for community television, it's the country.
There's a
And then
bill.
we have to figure out, how are we gonna grab that 2-3 cents from somebody who's cut the cord and are grabbing it from the internet? I don't know, that's a bigger question.
Well, there's a bill before the legislature, it's been floating around for a long time to start charging the streaming services to make up for the loss. Because in some community, like my community, we've lost a substantial amount. I'm glad to see you're not losing it. We've lost a substantial amount
Right.
of revenue
Right.
from that reason. So hopefully something will happen over the next year or so to make that up, and then you'll be able to expand more. But it
And-
sounds like you're doing okay.
We are, and we hedged this because we took the old police station, we put $1.4 million in the police station, we paid maybe $600,000 out of the bank, we bonded the rest,
Yep.
and not on your dime, on the contribution dime.
Yeah.
And this year that bond will be paid off.
Yeah, because it was a
Yeah.
5-year, you did it in 5 years, right?
I did it for 5 years because our Verizon agreement was 5 years.
Yep.
So I didn't want the townspeople to have any risk, just in case everybody cut their cord. I wanted that paid off before we were done.
And what's the staffing over there? You got Bob?
We have Bob DeTomer.
Yep.
We have Bill.
Bill.
He might be in the back.
No, Bill was
Nope.
here and decided he didn't want to hang out with us. today.
Okay. So, and then Bob has one person that comes in on an as-needed basis, because you all know that we lost Rick 2 years ago. Rick Schultz, you weren't here with Rick? All right, so I think we lost Rick Schultz 2 years ago. So now he has like a substitute that can run, the cameras back there.
Okay.
The other thing, I know that I'm speaking ahead, is we're going for a town meeting warrant. We're gonna ask for $125,000, not out of your account, it's out of the cable contribution account. We have to do that because of 53, whatever that Mass General Law is. And we're gonna upgrade Studio F.
You talked about that last year.
But now we're doing it, because now we got the warrant, we have the engineering done. And the beauty of what we're gonna do is Conference Room F is going to be an overflow for Conference Room A.
So it'll have the same technologies that this room has.
It's gonna have the same exact, but it's better. If you, like,
Oh, we're moving
like-
back upstairs, Evan. We're moving
no,
back upstairs.
like town meeting. If you have an overflow, everybody's in the gym. If you have an overflow here, we just press a button, and now your overflow is upstairs in Conference Room F. And part of that monies, we want to do a better production for town meeting. So we're going to do a 3-camera shoot, robotic. We're gonna have a camera for the select board. We're gonna have a camera for on the stage for the audience, because I'm sick of seeing the back of their heads. I want to see who's talking. And then we're going to have another one for the moderator. So that's our 3-camera shoot. And we're still going with the post-production, because on that side of the stage is going to be my interpreter. So we're always going to have a camera there, but that's not part of the shoot. That camera is just focused. And then at the end, when they all do their cutting, that'll be in the corner of the TV.
Yeah,
You
that's
know
what you
the
did
finance
last year
committee.
with the corner of the screen, right?
That's right. But the 3-camera
Think of
shoots.
the interpreter, so as people were talking, the interpreter's in the bottom corner.
Oh, that's cool.
And I asked a group, review that and give me your input. Was it big enough? Could you see? Could you make out what she was signing or he was signing? And they said, yeah, it was absolutely perfect. And we're already on board right now for one interpreter for May 8th, and will get the other one as soon as they find it. And we're gonna block off the stage. They don't want anybody walking in front of them. So when you go on, when you have a presenter, the moderator's here, they're gonna have to go this way and then up and around.
Yeah, that's not a big deal.
Mark, do you notice finance committee doesn't get a camera?
I was gonna say, you know, that should be the number one camera,
I
but
put you
No.
back on the
Considering-
stage, okay?
I
The
want
back-
a camera.
Back on the stage, that was the thing.
The back of the heads.
Yeah, camera on the back of our heads.
I can increase the warrant and get you a camera if you
No,
wish.
you don't need a camera.
Can we have a vote?
all those in favor of a camera?
No.
Kid, I'm joking, I'm joking.
You gotta do something about how the sound is, cause. the
That,
finance
all right,
committee's
I'll
on the
mention that.
stage.
So, you know, it's just so upsetting. Jay is going to be hiring a professional sound guy to come in and take over that. We're not gonna leave it up to the janitors anymore, or the art teacher, or whoever, because last meeting was ridiculous. They had it all set on Friday. It worked on Friday, but you can't trust that, because you get the weekend and all day Monday. Somebody came in the studio, and they were working in the studio, and they just took the button and clicked it up so the microphones on the stage doesn't work, but in their green room worked.
Oh.
That's what happened. But it took us 10, 15 minutes to figure out, oh, that's what happened.
It isn't just that, Bob, because when finance committee sits on the stage, we don't hear.
Yeah.
That's
Very
that's
well
another
at all.
problem, and that's always going to be a problem. But we're going to try to fix it. You need you need speakers that work so you can hear it like PA. Now, I did have an idea that if you could put headsets in, like we have here, then you're going to hear it. And I'm working on what?
Just a picture of everybody with the
It's
headset.
all of us.
Well, not a headset, just the ear. You
Just-
have one in front of you right now for
Like a
for Bob
There's a
Hassinger
little
right
wire
there.
that goes under your collar. And
Do you? Or,
Yeah,
I don't see anything.
I thought I saw one.
Is there one here?
I thought I saw one earlier
Oh.
this week.
So this would go on your hip or wherever, and then from here you just put the earpiece in, and now you can hear it. This is what I'm planning on. This is what I'm planning on doing.
It's like being on, being at the UN.
But
Yeah.
it's the only way to go
It's
because.
gonna be an interpreter.
Like the stage monitors they use for concerts and stuff.
But the problem with that is I don't think the equipment will.
No,
let me
I
put-
meant using that
Right, but if I
in-ear
put a
monitor.
PA in front
Yeah.
of the system, you're gonna get a feedback,
Yeah.
and that's what the problem was. So I think this is the only way to solve it.
That would help finance committee a lot.
Alright. Any other questions on cable?
Come on, I woke up early, guys.
Oh, you did, no, you covered a lot of good, you covered a lot of good ground.
Long-winded comes up for like a comment, you can like turn the volume down in your earpiece.
No, you can
Okay.
change stations to like the Celtics or whatever,
Okay.
whoever's playing.
Alright, any other questions for Bob? Alright, thank you, sir, appreciate you
Thanks, guys.
coming in on a Saturday.
My pleasure.
Thanks for coming early, Cuba.
My pleasure.
So,
Oh, wasn't there was a question you said we were gonna ask Bob when he came online?
Honeywell,
Sorry, yes.
Oh, this,
in the square footage.
This-
oh, the building.
You gotta learn
No,
to walk
What's the
faster,
square footage
Bob.
of this building? 53,000 square feet?
58,000 square feet.
58,000 square feet. We've already paid off the note for Honeywell, yes?
We should have.
Yes. Yeah, no.
Well, that was $3 million, and that was part of the energy that we saved so much.
ESCO.
So I don't know
Yeah.
that.
It is, because
It-
we're not paying for it.
Because we didn't put 3 million into the operating budget, there was $1 million that went in, that was covered in the operating budget.
Right, it's because, so they did it as an ESCO.
Right,
So
That's the word.
The energy savings offset some of the cost and so
but we
that.
never could
So-
account.
Supply, well, I will say, not having been here, I've done an ESCO, and they're a mess to try to account for. Because you have agreements with this amount of savings is gonna cover this amount of your nut, but then energy prices go up, and then this happens, and then
Right.
it's.
And we weren't getting any savings from this building, it was mostly the schools.
Right.
If I remember correctly,
Yes.
so,
No, we got good savings from this building. We got rid of the oil
well,
and we put it on gas.
at the time it was being sold, it was not said that, so.
Well, the windows cost
know.
$800,000.
Right.
Takes 99 years to get your money back on the $800,000. But
Yep.
you know, every winter I was cutting trash bags, just duct tape around the windows because they were so cold. Oh yeah.
They were never that cold.
So, yes,
when we were in
Honeywell is
school.
paid off 58,000 square feet.
Yep,
See, that was relatively painless.
There you go.
Thanks, Bob. Chief, perfect timing.
Learn to walk faster, Bob.
Come on up. How you doing today, sir?
Good,
Thank you for coming in on a Saturday. We appreciate it.
but we gotta rush this before we get another barricaded subject like we did last year, so.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
He paid for that.
Yeah,
did.
I was gonna say,
Easy out.
that was a coincidence.
The chiefs know what they're doing. They plan it that way to show how important they are. So, so Chief, thank you for coming in. Angelina and I had a great meeting with the chief, the deputy chief, and the assistant last week. Went over a lot of good information. There's a lot of good things going on within the police department, and I think there's a good story to tell. So, Chief, if you want to walk us through your budget, I know, Evan, the goal is to get to 25. We're going to get to 24 this year. So, Chief, if you just want to walk us through the numbers, that would be fantastic.
Okay, I mean, you want me to go line by line?
Yeah, let's go line by line.
Okay, well, department head speaks for itself. You should have my, the notes.
Yep.
Included on the side there. Let's see, that there, it's just, a little, I won't say confusing or whatever, because the 2023 budget shows for mine is not correct right now. I'm actually at 130, so that increase is less.
Yep.
Okay, so that wasn't reflected in my July 1st salary increase. Administrative personnel, as you can see, we actually went down on that, basically because we went into a 4-and-2 system rather than a 5-and-2 for the dispatchers. So previously, before the changeover, dispatchers were working 5 Monday through Friday, and we had 3 permanent part-time dispatchers on Saturdays and Sundays. So it worked out that going to the 4-and-2 schedule will actually.
So they
save
follow the
some-
same. They follow the same shift. that
Yeah,
the-
yeah, not necessarily the same grouping,
Yep.
but the same
Same
type
schedule.
4-and-2 schedule. Yep.
So with now, now that you've mentioned dispatch, is now a good time, Evan, for you to update us on where we stand with the regional police? So
So-
finance committee's aware?
Sure, so we did enter into an IMA with the towns of Westboro and Southboro. We have also submitted our regional dispatch grant to the state, and I believe it was $12.9 million that we requested from them. Currently, so now we wait, it's kind of a waiting pattern until June when we find out what we got for the grant, if we got the grant, all of that. So we are looking at probably being in Westboro. They've identified a site at the Okonomoko.
No, don't even.
That's close enough. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I've been working on it. And so it's a former site where they made they dipped wood in creosote. So it was a Superfund site. It'll always be a Superfund site. But we've been working with EPA, who feel very good about its reuse. Place that we're on the site reusing, all the contamination is about 120 feet underground, and we're not drilling or digging, so they feel like it's a very good reuse. So the building is in pretty good shape. It's okay. It's vacant right now.
The 12.9 pays for any renovations to the building plus all the equipment you need for the building. So if for whatever reason you don't get the 12.9 or you don't get it enough, what does that do? Does that delay the start? Or do we look for another funding source?
I think it depends. I don't think there's any conversation about looking for another funding source. So what I think would happen is that we would, we obviously need to prioritize the site and getting that up and running. There are other costs associated with each town. And so I think that what would happen is that you would do a needs assessment and funnel that money towards the most needed infrastructure gains and things like that. So Grafton, we estimate probably between 3.5 or let's call it $3 and $5 million for radio upgrades that will be funded as part of this project, as well as your mobiles, your MDTs, all of those things. So so yeah, it was a big push to get us over to get the IMA signed. and now it's a little bit of a waiting game until June.
So if everything goes according to Hoyle and you get the grant and everything else, this is a fiscal 25 transfer?
So if it depends on who you talk to. They're currently eyeing fiscal 25. I honestly think it's fiscal 26.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of work and a lot of lead time and a lot of design that goes into it. That said, maybe we'll be surprised, but I don't.
Yeah, I mean, with our infrastructure, we're still on copper lines
Yeah.
for our phones, and I don't mean phones that you dial in, because all our repeater systems, our radio systems work on phone lines. So, and those are, one way or another, we're gonna have to get rid of them, whether we go regional or whether we go on our own. We have to get rid of them. I've got a stack for all our, they call them circuits, all our frequencies, our circuits, for the phone lines that go throughout the town between the receiver sites and the repeater sites. I got a stack like this from Verizon telling me that in the future, those lines are gonna be pulled. So, it's not gonna be done overnight, but one way or another, it's gonna have to be replaced with fiber. And I think we were looking at, when we had the consultant come in, they indicated that the best way to do things would probably be microwave, and that's the way it's going right now. I mean, you still need fiber lines, which none of our sites have fiber going to them. So we're talking not only infrastructure of the radios and the radio system, but we're talking, bringing these lines out to those locations. So that's an expense.
Yep.
I priced it out. That's not cheap in and of itself.
So if we're looking at maybe 25 for regionalization, is their equipment and dispatchers gonna be, hold out for that long?
That's a great question.
Well, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, we can piecemeal it. We have in the past, ever since we went into the new station, I've been replacing certain components, especially the computer fund components. Like try to get it 5-6 years, because that's a useful life, and that's when, when you can get updates and whatnot.
Okay.
But there are certain things that we're not gonna be able to get, updates on, they're not gonna be supported. So, actually, we have, the company that came out, noticed with one of our radio consoles, and I'm not talking just, physical, the console is actually the radio itself, that, may have to be replaced, and they actually have one, like,
Oh.
spare parts that they can
Yeah.
use, and that's lucky that they do. Otherwise, you're talking just something like that could be over $200,000.
So, if I could jump in, so our goal is to get us, obviously, to regionalization. We are putting some money into the infrastructure that we already have. Again, prioritizing what we think is the most likely thing that would fail on us or
Right.
or hinder response or whatever that is. So we have some previously allocated capital dollars that we're using for some stuff on the PD side. I did get a earmark from the legislature that is funding some radio infrastructure on the fire side, as well as some portable upgrades, because their portables we don't even think they're gonna make it till then. They can't talk to mutual aid via their portables, and so we're gonna upgrade some of the command staffs, which is good. So I think everybody's working collectively to keep an eye on that horizon and see what we can limp along till then.
Yeah.
I know we had some capital requests recently for a repeater in South Grafton. Is that?
Yeah, that was a receiver site, and we initially had one survey done, and they said, yeah, that should help. Not perfect, but it should help. But we did another, what they call a propagation study, to see exactly how the signal will come out. Is where the site is. It's a little lower than we thought.
Okay.
So you don't have to raise an antenna quite high. It's just a receiver site. It's not a repeater site.
Okay.
So, so we kind of looked at that, and then we looked at our main repeater site, and what we ended up doing is we ordered a new antenna. The last antenna that we had replaced the original antenna. Don't forget, this is going on 17 years old now, these radios. So, and this antenna is pretty much the highest part of town, and it's been struck by lightning several times, even with lightning arresters and whatnot, grounding and all that. So we had to replace that, and the replacement antenna caused some issues, so now we're replacing that one with a better one, more expensive, using that, receiver site, rather than, just, putting in for an area just South Grafton. This will cover the whole town, hopefully. Hopefully. It's a much better antenna, and we discussed it. Fortunately, by doing this site in consultation with the consultant for the RECC, they pointed out, yeah, this is what you can do, and it worked out. It's going to work out even better, I hope. But still, infrastructure that's got to be worked on.
Would that affect the use of the proposed cell tower down there? I noticed they're talking about police and fire on there. Is that just holding a spot there just in case, or is there actually plans to?
For which?
So any
Yeah.
cell tower, but
Yeah.
we put language in every cell tower
Okay.
agreement that says that we have, our police and fire can mount on there. Usually we ask for or we put in the contract that we get the highest point spot. So we do that with everyone, because then.
Okay.
It's also in the zoning bylaw.
Correct.
That they have to give us that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So that's not a plan. That's just to
Yeah.
Yeah.
make sure it's available if we need it.
correct, always, yep.
So Evan, if it sounds like from what you're saying here, if for whatever reason, I hope it doesn't happen, if this regional dispatch falls through, we're gonna have to make a significant capital investment in our infrastructure for communications.
Absolutely.
For our infrastructure and for our staffing, because that's the other component that we're right on that edge of needing 2 dispatchers. Most certainly on the, what is it, Chief, the 3 o'clock shift?
Yeah, 3 to 11.
3 to 11?
Yeah.
So, we would have to start there, adding a second dispatcher, and then, probably go to
Days.
the morning shift, and
Yeah.
then maybe not so much on the overnights at first, but
Yeah.
but if
Eventually.
Grafton continues to grow, I mean, that you listen to we listen in our office to the scanner all day, and it's a busy place. I mean, everybody thinks it's a small town, but they're answering a lot of calls, a lot of requests for service, just everything you can think of,
Well, just based on what Paul was saying earlier today, 600 fire calls.
Right.
So I can imagine the number of police calls, you must be 20,000 calls, 30,000 calls.
Yeah.
You
Over
know,
8.
so whatever they're getting, plus you add the
Yeah.
fire
Yeah.
dispatch responsibilities to
Yeah.
what they have.
Yeah. Don't forget, whatever call the fire
Yeah.
department gets comes to our
The other guy,
dispatch.
Yeah.
So.
plus all the EMD stuff, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to have a dedicated person on medical.
Yeah.
That's a problem throughout the Commonwealth that doesn't happen because they only have 1 dispatcher on shift. So, those were the conversations weren't just based on cost when we started looking at the REC. A lot of it was based on
Sure.
just service delivery and
Mhm.
making sure that there's enough people in that room to handle whatever call we get.
Technically, as Evan said, the EMD portion that was passed several years ago, we get money through state 911, and when we get any medical call, it's supposed to be handled until pre-arrival instructions are supposed to be given until the ambulance or a police officer, some personnel arrive on the scene. So while they're talking to this person, you're not supposed to answer the phones.
But they're the only person in the room.
Exactly. So
They have no choice.
And dispatchers do a phenomenal job. All of them.
Yes.
From the newest to the most seasoned veteran, they do a phenomenal job on that. You'd never know, everything is seamless. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I had a resident that was angry about this and was telling me that, well, when they were on a call, the dispatcher was with them the whole time, and that just means that the dispatcher's good at what they do, but they guaranteed weren't with you the entire time because they have to dispatch this, get this going. Oh, this call came in. Oh, we need mutual aid. All these other stuff are happening. You might not hear it on the phone, but they're supposed to be a dedicated person with the pre-arrival instructions. That's all they're supposed to
That's
do.
all they're supposed to do.
Right.
That's the time.
We're not able to do that currently.
Well, thank you for that update. I think it was important for everybody to hear where you're at and what's going on and the implications. So, back to your budget.
okay, I thought you forgot about that. All right.
See, Mark, you're bringing us back to the time schedule.
All right.
I wanna have lunch.
So, so admin personnel, we covered wages, permanent personnel, the increase on that, it's, a little more significant because we're adding that extra person, onto the
Yep.
the uniform. Wages police special duty, that's, as you can see in the narrative, the notes on the side there, it's utilized for different details and whatnot that we don't cover under overtime. Then you have your regular overtime, there's no increase requested there. Okay, longevity, that's per CBA, and that's afforded to people that have so many years on the job. Police holidays, once again, CBA, and the increase there goes along with adding an additional officer. Quinn bill, same thing. That goes up because of the additional officer, and we're assuming that the additional officer will have a degree, at least bachelor's.
And there is an increase too for in the CBA for educational incentive.
Right.
That's right, you had mentioned that to us, chief.
Yeah.
So can I ask a question while we're going over that? So when you have a new officer come in, what is the cost for a new officer come in? Physical, what do you call that?
Psych exam.
Quid bill,
Oh.
all of this, what are all
Well,
the costs for one officer?
physical's about $500-600, then we
Yeah.
have to do a psychological exam, that's in a different line item. And the cost of the officer depends, if it's an officer a person that's already on the job someplace, or at least has graduated from the academy, we don't have to spend money sending that person to the academy. But if they're just fresh out of the academy, we're starting at step 3. Because right now, police officers, especially with an academy background, that are certified, they're getting hired everywhere. We've been very lucky in this town, for some reason, people want to come here. The last 7 we hired, 2 we hired, that we sent to the academy, but the other ones, either went to the academy on their own, or were working in another department, and they wanted to come here.
So with all of those that you consider, what would you consider an average?
Average salary,
Yeah.
I'd have to,
If someone comes
I would
in.
say, I think step 3 right now is 60,000.
60?
And, and if they have
Okay.
a degree, figure 70,000.
And then quid bill?
Well, no, that's including.
Oh, that's
Quinn
included.
Yeah, we have a modified Quinn for
Okay,
the officers there, and then, they don't get the full amounts that Quinville had before. I know,
Yep.
that's
yep. I
to
know.
come up in the future, I'm
Touchy
sure.
subject.
Well, yeah, and more and more departments are going 100% Quinn,
Yep.
and that's how they're getting people, keeping people, But as far as the other officer expenses, I mean, you've got things that aren't in my budget that, what do you figure, 20%, you said?
Yeah.
For benefits and whatnot, so, but that's, that's somebody that comes on that's,
Yep, I understand.
not seasoned, but has some time on another job, which we don't have to send to the academy, because if we have to hire fresh, first of all, it's getting him into the academy, and hopefully
That's
there's
what,
open.
22 weeks?
Well, it came down, it's about 20 weeks, we'll say 20 weeks with everything, but if you can, if you hire tomorrow, and if the academy starts in 2 weeks, that's great.
Yep.
Chances are, though, you hire tomorrow, you gotta wait for an academy to start, at least a nearby one, because we don't wanna send them to Linfield, or wherever, Randolph, because.
So when you bring them on board and they can't get in the academy, we can't use them at all,
No,
can we?
no, it's just subject to, so, and that's why it's nice when we can get them in, and they've already been to the academy, or they're about to graduate, the
So where do they
academy.
go to the academy?
I'm sorry?
Where do they go to the academy?
Where? The closest is Boylston.
Okay.
Worcester has an academy, but they're not running, they maybe run 2 a year. So if you get them, after they start, then you gotta wait.
Okay.
Yep.
Then you can go to Randolph, you can go to Linfield, you can go to Springfield. There's a bunch of them. Sometimes you can send them to the MBTA Academy. That's rare. But they do have several
Yep.
academies, so. But we hope to send them to Boylston, or the Police Academy, in New Braintree runs one. We've had a couple of people that have gone to that academy. Wherever we can get them in. But once again, the farther you go, the travel time and all that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you're talking 6 months in the academy, then they graduate, hopefully, and then you're talking another 12 weeks of field training, so they can't work on their own, and after that, then they can start working on their own. But you're talking some time if you don't have an academy certified person that you're hiring.
So 9 months to a year before they
Yeah, before they
can start.
become useful, for lack of
So-
a better term.
Have you filled every position that's authorized thus far? And you'll be
We
filling
are in
one
the
more
process,
position?
we had a resignation, a little while back, and it was, fortunately, it wasn't for somebody that wanted to go into another police department. She got into another, business or trade, as you say, computers, and she's moving out
Yeah.
to Boston, so. But a lot of departments, you see people just walking away from the job because of what's been going on.
Well, there
That
was an
hasn't happened
article-
to us yet.
Yeah, there was an article in the New York Post this morning that New York City is seeing the greatest exodus of police officers ever.
Yeah. Yeah,
Which, we're
Chicago.
lucky we're maintaining what we
Yeah,
have.
Chicago, Seattle, New York City, they're leaving. And they're looking for jobs,
Yeah.
they're going down south. But in that situation there, like I said, we will be hiring somebody very shortly.
Okay, for that vacancy.
Yeah, and that, the two, individuals, well, actually, there were several individuals that were, interviewed, and they're all academy trained. So we don't have to go down that rabbit hole waiting for 9 months to make them.
Well, is there a chance through this recruitment that you can hire the new one? That would start,
In June?
you don't have any money to do that now, you'd have to wait till July anyway, right? Okay. Just seeing if you could jump the gun a little bit, but, can't, okay.
So,
So Chief, just another quick question. How many are on the road during shifts?
how many on the road?
Yeah, how many?
Well, we have, technically, every group that works is 4.
Yeah, okay, four.
Yeah.
All right,
I mean, then you got time off and whatnot, but
right.
You never less than 2.
yeah, absolutely not.
All right, so total salaries, 13% increase, you've explained that
Yeah.
very, very well, we understand it. And into, expenses.
Okay, expenses, energy, that's the most significant increase, and I discussed that with Evan, and back when, and I don't know, I'm seeing a little bit more, but we figured everybody's saying 40% increase in energy expenses, electricity, gas, and whatnot, so we put that in there at that amount. And, we're very frugal in department. We're not putting plastic garbage bags up in the windows, but we are, the windows are draft-free, so we're good. We're good. It hasn't come to that yet. So, keep an eye on that, but that's the norm, I guess, and it's just supposed to go higher from what I'm hearing, so we don't want to take any chances. Building repair and maintenance, that shows 0, but way back when, for those of you who've been on the board for a while, the committee, we had 2 line items, building repair, and then building repair and maintenance for some reason, so we combined that together. That's why there's more money there.
Yep.
But there was a 0 increase requested for this year. Let's see, professional technical, drug task force, there's no increase requested there. Conference and seminar fees, the biggest increase for that was actually testing for promotional exams. So we're talking roughly, for lieutenant's tests, we're talking about $6,000-7,000 for a lieutenant's test, and for a sergeant's test, which we'd have more people applying, according to the testing companies, we gotta double that. Because the testing company can only do an assessment for about 5 people. If they get more than that, they have to add on other assessors, which is more expensive. So,
Just seems
So I
a
put
weird
that
name
into
for
that
that
one.
line item. I don't know.
I'm sorry?
It just seems weird to have that under seminar and fees. I don't know if there's something
Well,
that
for
should be
lack
split
of a
out. in the
better,
future.
there's
Yeah.
really no, there's no other,
Yep.
No other place to put it.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, for the time being. So, communications, everything else is pretty much 0, request. Supplies, yeah, everything in, supplies and materials,
Level
we're
funded.
not asking for an increase on there. Uniforms, that,
That's for the extra
right,
officer?
the extra officers,
Yep.
yep, and, we add that now, so,
Cruiser cost, chief, in your budget, you're seeing a little bit of an increase, the cost is going up?
right, the cost, went up about $8,000 between the 22s and the 23 cruisers. Yeah, for no explanation at all given, but, and this is for the hybrid vehicles, but, in the cruiser course, we're looking to probably get some admin vehicles, cause the ones we have right now are the oldest ones in the fleet, so, but that's, and I'm actually looking at that, to see about the hybrids, but they're hard to get now, again, but yeah, the price on those went up over $8,000. Like I said, no explanation offered by Ford, and it's all three companies, and whether it's, the Boston contract or Plymouth County contracts or whatever.
Still going up.
The same, yeah, they're all going up. The equipment's incredible, and the wait time is crazy. We ordered our vehicles back in July, and I'm just getting one of our cruisers next week from last July.
Wow, that's
'Cause
crazy.
Yeah, it is.
So the overall increase is 13.6%, and that's because we're adding that person. So next year, you'll be adding another person, because you want to get to 25. I would expect we see a similar increase, because the cost could probably be about the same.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
pretty close.
Okay. And that's all in your projections, and you're comfortable with that and moving forward?
Yep, that's what we're banking on.
Do you have a part-time custodian? Right, or
No, we
full-time?
share custodian with the,
You share it with
municipal
municipal
center, yes.
Okay.
Might I say, he's doing a fantastic job for us. I know that. He's
How often
incredible.
does
He's
come in?
incredible, yeah.
He's there pretty much every day, Monday
Every
through
day.
Friday.
Yeah.
Usually the mornings he's down with the PD folks, and then he migrates to wherever else
Yeah,
he's got.
and if there's something
Okay.
we need, he comes back in the afternoon, or like National Night Out. I mean, he spends all his time, does all the bull work, even we tell him we'll help you out. He's incredible, so I just wanna give him a pat on the back for
Taking
that.
care of that bathroom?
Huh?
Taking care of that bathroom?
He's one of the few people that are allowed into the Sue Robbins Memorial Bathroom. Yes.
Hey, we built that building, didn't
Uh-huh.
we, Norm?
I just want you to know that I took a tour of the Shrewsbury PD,
Yeah.
new police station. If you don't know about this, it's incredible. And, walked in the chief's office and I looked around. He doesn't have a bathroom. So,
Hey, well, we knew.
How nice is the station?
huh? Oh,
State of the art?
it's absolutely incredible. The gym is the size of, Anytime Fitness.
Wow.
Wow.
It's incredible. It's,
Wow.
they have a shooting thing in there to do mock, stadium seating in their,
Training room?
Yeah, and you don't have to squint to look at one screen. They have screens that come down in front of the desk from the
Jeez.
ceiling.
What was do we know what the cost of the construction
I
was?
think it was 46 million. We paid for
Wanna
it.
build one?
Nate.
No?
We paid
It's
for
nice
it.
to have a commercial
I know.
tax base.
Our
It's nice
building's
to have a
what,
commercial tax
12
base.
years?
I know
How old
it
is
is.
that building?
We moved in 2006.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're going on 17 years.
Yeah.
I tell you, so we met the chief at the station. That station looks as good, I'm sure it looks as good as it did the day you moved in there. It's
Yeah.
pristine.
When you go
and
in the
that's-
conference room, and it never changed,
It's-
I hate touching his table.
I know, it's very-
wiping fingerprints
I know,
off and
I know.
everything else. Did your wife find any gargoyles for you for the station?
No, I've been looking.
No?
I still have mine on my bookcase
Yep,
though,
yep.
from
They wouldn't let
France,
me
right?
put gargoyles on the fire,
Yeah.
police station.
We had 78 cents left when we finished the station project, so we couldn't buy the gargoyles for each side of the castle.
Well, chief, I think, it's a good budget. I'm glad that Evan's made a commitment with you to get our number of officers up. It's important to have that. Training is important, and you're doing a great job with that, so thank you very, very much.
Thank you. It's
Any
easy
other
to
questions? Go ahead,
to
Dan.
work with.
With the mental health clinician, glad to see that's going. The grant for that, do you know how long that lasts?
It lasts a year. I think, well, this one here will expire, I believe, on June 30th.
Okay.
And then, we'll keep on putting in for it.
Okay, so is that in this budget?
No, that's a separate, that's a grant.
Yep, yeah, we don't account for the grant anywhere
Yeah.
in the budget.
Oh, so it'll go till next June, is that what you're saying, or?
Well, till June 30th.
2023.
Yeah, and then we apply.
Oh, we
for another
reapply
one.
for the
Yeah,
grant.
we
Oh, okay.
reapply. It's
Got
just
it.
like the other grants that we have.
How many grants do you apply for? How many grants do you have now?
We've got the 911 grant, training, sport and incentive, the
Yeah.
mental health grant. I've got the body worn camera grant, the traffic safety grants, pedestrian and bicycle safety grants. That's about
So
it.
the usual ones that you've had for a while.
What's
Yeah.
the total in grants? Are you up what, 50, 60, 70,000 dollars?
Oh, more than that.
More than that?
Probably, maybe close to 150, 200,000.
Oh, okay.
Pretty good grant.
Oh, yeah, the 911 grant's 50,000 alone, yeah.
Yeah, 56,000.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
actually, and then for the training grant, that's another 23,000.
Okay, good.
So the
That's a nice supplement to the budget.
Oh, absolutely, and they did a body worn camera grant,
Which
and
is
so
41,000.
when they're rolling out soon.
Yeah, very soon. We're just gonna do the final training, and, yeah, that'll be coming out. We'll be doing an announcement on that.
Norman's done an excellent job since he's been here getting grants, writing grants for the department.
No, there's no question about it.
Yeah,
We're trying.
Do you wanna, like, have a flashback and talk about cruises in the budget or anything like that? You're comfortable with where we are?
we've gone
I'm
over.
being a wise guy, I'm being a wise
No.
guy.
Well, yeah, I'll just say that when I first got here, we used to buy 2 cruisers for $52,000.
Now, 2 cruises, 100,000.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it's good that you're replacing them that way, and I'm glad we worked
Yeah.
that out and we put it in the budget, and that was a good decision on our part. And I'm
it's
glad
been
it's there.
in, it's been out, it's been.
Yeah.
I know.
Thank
God.
It's here, it's there.
Something-
catastrophic happens that we can't control, it'll be in there for.
Yep, nope, makes a lot of
I
sense.
appreciate that. It's, it's something, it's part of the job. It's just like the radios. If we don't have radios, you don't get a response. We work in front of the station and, we'll have somebody come out with a note.
Flag
and say,
signals.
Respond here, because there's no radio. Same thing with the cruises,
We're not gonna see you running down the street to a call.
Yeah, it's, we get the electric scooters eventually, but, they're not gonna get there
Yeah,
too
those,
fast.
what do they call those things?
Chief, great job. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Saturday. Now, are we gonna hear about a report that your phone hasn't rung at all?
Nope,
So nothing happened this year?
no, nothing. We're
All right.
good. We're good.
He knew it was an easy day.
Yep. Thanks, chief.
Okay, thank you, and thank you all for your support. It's really appreciated. All right, take care. Have a good day.
Any luck getting anybody to come in early? All right.
And Shannon's headed in early too, she didn't know exactly what time, I said as early as you.
As early as you can, perfect. All right, let's take a quick 5-minute recess, and then we'll go to Jen, and then, if Shannon gets here, we'll go to Shannon and then Candy, and then we'll finish up with you.
Sorry, I've been rolling around on here.
We'll see.
Thank you.
It is 10:49.
I'm getting hungry already.
Me too, that's what I was just thinking. Like, what's wrong with me?
Nothing, it's just you ate earlier. Let's just have her call for lunch now.
I love that. Are you hungry? Are you hungry?
Yeah, we were just talking about that. We're both hungry.
hungry.
I, I like the minutes to show that I am also hungry.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the day they wrote, that's when they were authorized?
Yeah, so we have to, if you make it bigger, so the one, the
Oh,
this
yeah.
segment is when it's authorized, and then the last segment is when it rolls off.
Oh, that's
So
real
I s-
smart.
Yeah, I set up the accounts that
That's
way.
real smart. Oh, yeah, sorry.
See, call out to them and see if they'll deliver early.
Nope.
That'd be funny if they like showed up in 15 minutes and Mark comes back and they.
The interfund.
Nope.
Nothing on the special, nope, nope.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, we don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
thanks, Chief. Yeah, thanks for coming out.
So with that that clinician spot, Chief, sorry, with that clinician spot, is it the idea to just keep renewing that grant every year? And
Yeah.
that'll, okay,
Yeah, and that's a grant through Department of Mental Health.
okay,
So-
yeah. I guess I assumed that it was one of those like first year grants, and then they expect you
No,
to.
no,
Okay,
no.
so-
That one's
Cool.
ongoing.
Yeah, it's needed,
Yeah.
some departments have their own, but we share with Millbury and, Sutton, but they always end up in Grafton for some reason.
Do you think it would help if there was more capacity? Like if there was like some like Grafton funding toward that?
Right now, it's not necessary.
Okay.
We work with its private company advocates.
Yeah.
And, what's nice about our clinician program, we work with advocates for the co-response, where a clinician will go to the scene with a police officer, and then we work with Blackstone Valley Connector for follow-up. Because a clinician doesn't do a lot of follow-up per se, according to the grant. So Blackstone Valley Connector, which is located, I believe, in Northridge, we contact them, and they will follow up with the person in mental health crisis. So we got them both ways,
Okay.
which is nice.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Some departments don't do that.
See if we can.
And it works out, it's all paid for.
Okay.
So that works out great.
Cool.
Okay, take care.
Take care, chief.
Yeah.
Let's see how.
All right, so when we get Jen
A
on,
little behind.
is it possible to see her? So do we need to share the screen? Do we have the recreation budgets in here, right?
Yeah, do you want me to not?
Just so we can see her when we're talking to her.
Got it.
Hi, Jen.
Hello.
We'll be with you in 2 seconds.
No, I think it wasn't, because when it just, it was faster when I stopped paying. I'll just have to keep an eye on that.
This is immensely powerful.
Hey, Paul, break right now? It took me like literally just 2 seconds to recognize, like, what's that guy's the end? Oh, fuck! Yeah.
Don't let it be said I didn't get you an early lunch.
Yeah.
Just you, they have to stay, okay.
Yep, so we could do a couple things. Paul, we can-
My 4-year-old will say he's hungry, and we say, "What do you want?" He's, a lollipop.
Okay,
And I can just go pop all the.
Doesn't quite understand what hungry means.
okay, I'll do that then.
So we didn't cover moderator.
We're gonna go back to those.
Yeah, I was
Yep,
just
I'm
going
glad
through
you're
which
checking that
ones
off. Yep,
I thought we had covered.
That sounds good.
Thanks.
yeah,
Hank.
whatever
I
we,
appreciate it.
we'll do, Jen.
Yep.
We'll do, Candy, we'll do Shannon, and then we'll have Evan wrap us up. So, Evan,
So we're about 20 minutes ahead.
Yeah.
Plus this
Yep,
stuff
that
from
we've
Evan,
done.
so that's good.
no, it's just, it's the transparency with the budget, the information that's right there in front of us, this, we don't have to try to figure out why this is here, why this is there. It just works really, really well.
Yeah.
Makes it quicker.
It does.
I'll just let you know formally that I will be asking for $3,000.
For your,
Well, we had a break-in and entering, so there was $3,000 worth of damage and stuff
you need
stolen.
you need a reserve fund?
Not yet.
Okay.
Maybe
Look at
we'll
the-
make do, maybe we won't.
Is that the library?
Yeah, some people use saws and cut into the tool shed. They cut the garage door up and the tracks for the garage door, so that was a couple of grand, and they stole a chainsaw and a souped-up weed whacker.
That sucks.
Left all the other stuff there. I'm glad. They didn't touch anything else.
Yeah.
What do you have for mowers in there?
We have one nice big ride-on zero turn that we bought 2 years ago.
What kind is that?
Um,
What color is it?
red.
So Ferris.
Yeah, it's a Ferris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at you trying to show up your
I
knowledge.
sold power equipment for 10 years.
Very
That's my
impressive.
family's business in Wilbraham.
And you gave that all up for this?
I can't just.
I brought you lunch.
It's bad enough
I
we
got you and
damage the.
Joseph was down there lunch.
All right.
Yeah.
One of
Is
the people
everybody,
that said construction.
everybody's back?
They cut a hole in the side of his trailer.
All right, we're back in,
Power equipment.
we'll get back into session. And Jen is here. Thank you for, starting early. We appreciate it. So if you want, we have your budget right in front of us. I don't know how you want to go through it. You want to just walk through, talk about the wages, the salaries, the professional, technical, things like that. If you want to take us through that, that would be great.
I had my expense sheet up, but not the salary sheet, but, in front of me. Hold on one sec.
Okay, take your time.
If Evan's gonna share screen. But yeah, department head, salary, we have, a full-time coordinator and a part-time, assistant in the office. And that is, the permanent personnel line. And so they have, their increases as well. Then we have our seasonal staff line. That's for all of our beach staff. That thankfully did not have to increase as much as the past handful of years because minimum wage is finally, remained steady. So we just did their returning year increases. And then we get into our expense line, right?
Yep. All right, well, before you do that, Jen, any questions on salaries?
Have
Sue?
you been having difficulty finding lifeguards for the summer?
Yeah, we have about 6 right now. We usually about 15, and we have a bunch not coming back right now. So we're gonna do what we did last year and go do some recruiting at the high school lunch tables, and Upton is in the same position. Westboro is in the same position. Westboro didn't actually run their beach last year. They're kind of not necessarily worried about doing that again because it worked for them. So we hopefully have less of a pool that we're competing against. But all three of us are looking for beach directors as well.
Is it because of the salary or because there's just not a lot available?
Yeah, I mean, just over the years, it's just been a steady decline in the interest of, what people to be lifeguards, right? And the cost to take it, the time, the certification, that level of responsibility. So, we are gonna work with costs on people, to help finance it. But it's still that interest. And, we're $1 over minimum wage, but the targets and of the worlds are, $24 an hour type thing, right?
Thanks, Jen.
So it's hard. So if you don't get a full complement of lifeguards, you just cut back the hours? Because you can't obviously operate without the lifeguards.
Yeah, that's my plan. I mean, as we did last year, we only had one supervisor, so to get them a day off, we just did 6 days instead of 7 days. If we have half the amount of lifeguards, same thing, maybe less hours, one less day, type thing. So, we're always kind of surprised that we get closer. The crew is great and they recruit their friends, and family members, and because they love working there, and they get people to work there. So it's still early.
Okay. All right, any other questions on salaries and wages? All right, so going into your expenses, pretty much level funded.
Yeah, we've been pretty steady for this will be maybe the 5th year. We've been only about $400. And that's just a little bit, same with energy, like the water testing at the beach, but everything is pretty much pretty much the same when it comes to that. I don't know if anyone wants me to explain more of each line, or they have specific questions.
So energy is just for the beach, right?
It is. Yep. So there's just like that $12 a month kind of for electricity, 9 months a year. And then when we're there, we're running a lot of electric there for the summer.
Okay.
So the professional and technical line of 7,900, what did we spend that on?
That's for our software support for our registration software, along with a little portion of miscellaneous, and then a chunk of the summer concerts. But we do usually, between sponsorships and a grant from the Cultural Council, which we again did receive, subsidize that.
So what do we take in recreation fees for the year?
How much?
How much? Yeah.
When I ran it the other day, I did calendar year of 2022, because 2021 we were still obviously recovering from COVID a bit there.
Yep.
And that was over 500,000.
Wow.
So we pay a ton out of that, so we're not sitting on a huge number. We take in a lot of money, but we pay out a lot of money too.
Any questions? Greg?
I noticed that communications went down. That's good. Is there changes there, or just not spending as much as?
It's just in a different account. That used to be where my phone reimbursement went, and now that's coming out of a higher level full town,
Okay.
Evan will, or Mary could, say that better.
I think that covered it.
All right. Any other questions? Pretty straightforward budget. Doing a great job. I hope you have good luck on your recruitment, and you get a full staff, so that you're able to keep the beach open as many hours as you possibly can for it. So great job.
Yeah, we're hiring lifeguards, parking and snack bar attendants, the beach director, and camp counselors for our summer camp program. And if you guys maybe indulge me just for a minute, and
Please.
I don't know if Andrew's there or Evan has the slide I shared. I just wanted to kind of give you a quick by the numbers thing, or if you can share my screen, I can share it if it's quick.
Yeah, share your screen,
Okay.
Jen. Share your screen.
Did you authorize her to share?
Gotta be careful she doesn't, Zoom bomb us.
first thing I look at when I get done.
Greg, do you remember if the snack shack was put on capital? Was it there near the
No,
snack
it
shack?
was the office, the staff building was the one that they had asked for. I don't remember
At
if
the
it went
beach?
through or not. Yeah. Replacing the garage, basically.
Go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, so you can see that it was just, throwing you some numbers, what we do between, the amount of local people we hire seasonally, which last year was 40, and being able to offer over 200 programs, with that. We do, about 20 events a year with, 6,000 people attending those, and over 5,000 people in our programs. And over the past 2 years, we've been working really hard completing all the items on the ADA transition plan, and we're pretty much there. So just want to give you a snapshot of
No,
what
that's,
we've been.
wow, that's a lot of activity.
So a lot of activity for Jen and, a full-timer and
I know, that's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, so we lost our other full-time office manager last April, and Cody came on as a part-time coordinator, and then he took the summer off for like paternity leave, but we hired a part-time office manager. So we're finally all 2.5 of us are there, and getting ready for the next season. So we're catching our breath and getting ahead.
Well, that's amazing. Congratulations. Great job. Great job.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
All right, have a nice afternoon. Thank you for taking time out of your Saturday to meet with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
I take it you're Shannon.
I am.
Shannon, come up to the
Yes,
table.
all right.
Thank you for coming in early.
Sure. I was actually running when Evan texted me.
I said, just keep going.
Yeah.
Get over it.
You were running in the
I cut it
rain?
short, actually.
Did you?
Like, oh no, by a mile.
By a mile. Oh my God.
I would have said by
Running
feet.
to a mile and 20.
Evan just fell on the
You're right,
floor
you're
just
right.
thinking about
What do
it.
you normally run?
Today I did 5.
Wow.
I was gonna do 6, so
Nice going.
But
Ed.
we cut you short, right?
Right, exactly.
I'll tell you what, I'll think about a mile later.
I'd just like to say, Mark, that Nick and I really grilled her on her budget. It was such
Thank
a
you,
big
ma'am.
budget. And we just put the light on her and just
Yeah, it
questioned
was very
her.
So
scary.
here's a good senior center budget though. So we accidentally deleted a line.
Yes.
And I started getting instant angry text messages from
I almost had a stroke though too when I saw the graph. I didn't see that before either.
And we
What
kept
did you
saying
cut
to-
out? This
No, it was
department
like,
head?
I must have
Repair
zeroed
and
out, I
maintenance.
zeroed out a $5,000
And I
service
kept
line.
saying to her.
Oh, the
"You
repair and
gotta
maintenance?
Talk to him.
Yeah.
You can't live
Oh,
without
yeah, they're all
that."
spun
Yeah.
up, but I'm like, I don't know, it's probably a mistake. There you go. Ooh, 5. done.
You know what happens with spreadsheets sometimes?
So I did put together just a quick presentation.
Walk us through it.
Kind of go through the Council on Aging. I mean, it's a very new role that I've taken on. I've been here since August, but I just kind of want to give an idea of what I've been doing and what was already well established before I joined in.
The floor is yours.
All right, I'm going for it. So the focus of the Senior Center is to meet the needs of Grafton residents over 60 and those with disabilities. We provide assistance and programs to promote the enrichment and wellness of our patrons that come in. The Senior Center, at least for 2022, served about 59 residents a day, 699 throughout the year. They were closed for January and February of 2022, but we're definitely starting to see our numbers tick back up and getting back into the full swing of things. The next slide, you can just see some of the services we have to offer. We have a lot of enrichment programs, services and assistance. There's a lot more going on than just the bingo, which even though it's a big one, we do provide a lot more enriching activities there.
What's the most, bingo's the most popular one?
Bingo is probably the most popular. That one's usually a full house, sells out within
Big
the first
money.
couple days.
There's big money involved? Have you won?
Gift cards.
You should
We have
s-
gift cards, yeah.
Yeah, you should see, Mark. I went to Foxwoods with a group of Red Hatters. I couldn't get off the bus because they were heading for bingo. They got up and out that bus faster, and I was just getting up, and I thought, wow, must be a good game.
Yeah.
What happened?
They love their bingo.
We don't have cash prizes, unfortunately, just gift cards.
No, gift cards are nice.
Yeah, and then we have this is just a couple of slides on the aging population. As the population of older adults is rapidly growing, By 2050, the number of persons older than 80 is expected to triple as
my
compared
God.
to 2020. Yeah,
Wow.
and then because baby boomers are aging, life expectancy is increasing. It's currently 79 for Massachusetts, and then by 2060, it's expected to go up to 85 as a life expectancy.
Now, that's me, you and Sue,
It's-
the baby boom.
I'm
I
not,
was just,
I'm not calling anyone out.
No, that's all right, we're baby boys. I'll admit I'm a baby boomer.
I heard the phone ringing.
Mark, I can only live to 92 because then my retirement is all.
Is all gone.
But just one thing on these I found on the WHO website, it's basically saying that in order to maintain healthy behaviors, reduce the risk of chronic conditions, improve physical and mental capacity, and promote independence, we must continue to promote the availability of public buildings and transportation for our older adults.
How many vans you running right now?
We have 2.
2 vans?
Yep. And then we just got approved via ARPA for a minivan as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so that'll be great. Those run all day long, very, very busy.
Yep.
With the minivan, we'll be able to take rides to Milford and hopefully Northborough as well.
Do you ever go into the city for, or Worcester or Boston for medical appointments?
Not Boston, so we go into Worcester every day but Tuesday. We don't go to Boston. Boston's too far. We stay just within the Grafton area.
Okay.
And then the next slide is just the number of people per event. I kind of just grouped all of our events together throughout the years. You can see that we definitely had a big dip 2020, 2021 as expected, but 2022 everything started to move towards that upward progression again. And then on the next slide is the numbers. The blue is 2022, the red is 2023, but it's for only the first 6 months so far. And you can see that we already have started to move almost past half the amount for the entire year of last year, so we're definitely moving in a positive, getting more seniors involved, trying to get more programs running too.
How come meals are so, meals
That was
seem
I
way
was
down?
just going to say.
He does this constantly, just.
That's okay, I'm good. So the meals is just because I haven't gotten the numbers that comes from Elder Services.
Okay.
So those aren't the accurate numbers for that, but otherwise it would be about the same.
It would be about the same, okay.
It'd be, yeah.
Evan's cooking, that's why they would.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And then just some future goals for the senior center. It's 3 main categories. In order to address, to address these goals, we'll continue to provide and improve the quality of programming that we offer. And the categories are continuing education for the staff themselves, to bring in more evidence-based program for the seniors, and then also to build some more community partnerships. And then here's the budget. So this is really where we're open for questions. I think the only 2 places that we've really increased is for education for staff to get us into more conferences and continuing ed courses, and then also built in a budget for programming itself too.
So is there a Friends of the, is it
Yep.
Friends? And what are we taking that, and what do we use that money for?
So that they pay for all of our exercises. Most of our exercise instructors, they pay for the rides to the senior center, so we don't have to charge seniors for that. And then it also will pay for other events throughout the year.
And the formula grant, how much you get in the
The
formula grant?
formula grant, actually, that's on the last page. You can see formula grant this year, we got 53,000. And then that was an estimate based off of how many seniors. It could go up or down for next year, but it does look like, I know that Healy Driscoll has asked for $14 per senior
That's what I,
instead of
it's supposed to
12.
go up, it's
Yeah.
supposed to go up. So what do you use the formula grant for?
Formula grant, it's really just for any other programming as well. I think depending on when we get that van, we'll use that to help pay for the driver as well.
And you get 100% reimbursement the following year on any van usage, right?
Yes,
It's 100% reimbursement, isn't it,
yes,
for the van?
I believe it is.
So, how do you like it so far?
It's great. I love
Enjoying
it.
it?
Yeah.
Lisa treating you okay?
She's okay? Yeah.
All right, good, good.
As good as can be expected.
Yep.
No, I'll say Sheena's doing a fantastic job. I hear it universally. I do 1 hour a month. I go sit in the senior center, and anybody can bring any questions or concerns they have, and universally loving what Shannon's doing. Just think she's doing a great job. Love the new programming, and so we added that $5,000 line this year to just kind of build on that momentum. So So it's a very, if you ever have an opportunity, it's a very active place. You stop in there, there's a lot of people. So it's-
That's nice.
It's real
The usage is going way up,
Yeah.
which is great. Go
And
ahead,
all
Dan.
of her energy should have taken away your hunger.
The lollipop took away some.
Go ahead, Dan.
Speaking of the usage, is that, as the population grows and usage grows, is that space still adequate over there?
I think for now it's tough to say. In the future, as of now, we're making use of all the room we have. We're definitely utilizing more of the rooms than we have before, I think.
How many square feet is that area?
less than 58,000.
Excellent. I love
A
that.
percentage
I-
of,
Yeah. I want to tour the new library and senior center in Upton.
Yeah.
That's a really big building. It's beautiful.
yeah.
I'm anxious to go and see it.
It's we have been talking a little more about capital needs and trying to keep a better, or not better, keep a tab on what we need. We did just quasi redo a room. So it was the room had an old projector TV and stuff. We put a
Yeah.
flat screen on the wall. We got new table and chairs in there.
Looks much better.
Looks a lot better, yeah. And we're gonna start. We've been having conversations
Yeah.
about how to utilize some capital funds. I think we're gonna do some, probably in the next couple of years, some work in the kitchen.
Yes.
We've discussed that a
Yep.
little bit. The folks using the BOLAC room don't seem to have a strong inkling that we should change anything.
They seem to love it.
They seem to love it. So we'll do some minor things along the way, but
Yeah.
we are doing I think a deeper assessment about what we need in that space.
I'm still familiarizing myself with the space and how it works and all of that at this point.
Well, as the population is aging,
Yes.
there's gonna be a requirement for more services, there's gonna be hopefully more participation, so.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
wanna be able to,
The nice thing about being here is that we have the gym space to use for exercise, which takes a big strain off of, the where the
do it,
congregate
yeah.
meals are and those sorts of things. When I went by the other day, there had to be 30 people.
Yeah,
in
in that
Zumba
class, yeah.
oh,
At
really?
one time.
Oh, wow,
yeah.
that's a big
Class.
class.
One of our exercise classes at 30 almost she teaches twice a
It's,
week.
it's a lot.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
It's a
awesome.
lot of people.
Full.
I'm telling you, it is for what I had pictured for this year. It far surpasses what we have for activity. I mean, they're just. It's really nice. It's really nice.
Oh, that's
Our
exciting.
senior population
Yeah, it was
is
quite
all done
interesting
with
when we were
school
doing the
bus.
voting and
In every
Yeah.
community, it's happening.
Yeah.
In a lot of the communities, I should say, it's happening.
Yep,
And it's just gonna get bigger and bigger.
it is.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. Do you want to critique Evan while you're here? Tell us anything?
No, I'm good.
Okay. That's pretty smart. to
that's-
say
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
That
yeah.
She'll collect longevity.
We just got authorized by ARPA for
Yep.
the minivan. We've got to go before I'll take that before the select board at their next meeting, but I don't anticipate anything. So we're actually specking out a plug-in electric hybrid minivan for the senior center because when we redo the parking lot, we're going to be adding charging stations. So
Nice.
Yeah.
pretty neat.
As far as access, I know you were putting some ramps and things. Is that exterior projects all done?
Pretty much as far as ramps go, yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing the whole parking lot over, and there'll probably be some minor tweaks, but as far as the concrete walkways and everything, we're in pretty good shape back there.
Excellent.
The
Excellent.
next step is new carpet in the hallway for where the memorial hallway is, where the veterans
Yep.
and transportation is. We have one floor project that's in flux right now
Yep.
because the floor there's a control joint and the building keeps shifting at a different rate. So we've now cut a wider section. We're filling that in with Sikaflex, and then we're going to tile over that. But yeah, I mean,
There must be.
It does.
What
Yeah.
floor is that?
It's a little crater
What
now.
floor is that?
So right before you get to the BOLAC room, if you're walking
Yeah.
past the restrooms,
Yeah.
you'll actually see it now. There's no tile there.
Ah,
So we've got to saw cut that channel out, and then hopefully that'll resolve it because I guess this crops up every 5 years or so.
That's weird on a single-story building that you're having that much settlement and
Yeah, it
change.
depends on what they built it on.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's
You know?
true.
It's
It's all peat underneath us, basically.
this was a gravel bank.
Ah,
Gravel. So
gotcha.
yeah, it's but no, I can't be more excited by what Shannon's doing down there and all her staff. Doing
Awesome.
great stuff.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Well, Shannon, welcome and thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming in early.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No,
having
no
cut
problem.
Your run short.
That's okay.
this was
But
excellent.
Thank
I
you.
told her
Yeah.
to have a presentation.
Yeah.
but She did an excellent job.
You'll always learn,
Impressed.
do whatever Sue says, and your
Yep.
life will be a lot
Yep.
easier.
Yep.
I know I live by those words on this committee.
This is excellent.
No,
you.
great job, and thank you so much for coming
Yeah,
today. Does
thank
anybody
you.
have any other questions for Shannon? Awesome.
You
Thank
gotta,
so
you
much.
gotta go out and do the mile cool down now. Off of what you lost.
No, I'm good. Take the dog for a walk later.
Did it stop raining?
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
it's just nice and raw out
Probably
now.
70 and balmy. It'll be snowing by the time
Yeah.
we get out.
Yeah.
All right, nothing else?
No, you're good.
All right,
Thank you so much for
everyone.
coming in.
Yeah, no
Thank you.
problem.
Great presentation.
Thank
This is
you.
great.
Okay, so, Evan, going back to, what we were doing with you, Greg has done a good job keeping track of that. So town moderator, I take it there's no changes there, spending a ton of money, $250. I can't believe the amount of money we spend on the
At some point, we should
moderator.
probably consider bumping the moderator's stipend up.
Well, I'll tell you this, I did it this year because our moderator would get paid $65 a year. I bumped it up to $1,000 this year. And so if you have extra money this year and you wanna bump it up now, I think the moderator should get more money.
Well, she might not want it. They might put her into a different tax bracket.
Yeah, that's true, but I would support an
Yeah.
increase in that easily.
And only 150 of that is salary, the rest is, the other 100's professional and
I
technical.
think our other town moderator, or some of them did, never took it.
Yeah.
They
So
just left it
that
in
would be
the budget.
$75 per town meeting, based on,
Yeah, I think we should
It's the
increase
amount
it.
of work that's.
I know, there's a lot of work, that is nothing. If you have extra money, something happens, you can bump that up, I support an increase for that.
Oh, this is how I did it last time, Mary.
Well, if you find
Let me
extra
touch
money,
this
you
stuff.
could bump up our salaries
Yeah,
as
exactly.
well.
What about-
Yeah, I want a raise, give us all 10%.
We weren't talking about
Yeah,
that.
I would say we should get 50.
50%
50% of what we get is more than
Beautiful.
reasonable.
Yep. 50% of zero, still zero. Okay,
All right, so I bumped that up.
okay, good.
You good with that? Okay, I should have taken a poll. But
What's the new number?
1,000.
Good, I like it.
I mean, it's a lot. It is a lot of work.
It is,
She does a lot of stuff in the background too.
Good
absolutely.
thing I got that 5,000 in first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Don't worry. It's gonna come.
Amber, we're gonna do the same thing with your salary when we get to it, so don't worry.
It'll
Cover
come.
you. All right, into select board budget, we should probably change that to
Yeah,
select
we
board.
have to have them change it. That's not something we can do, and we just forgot to ask them to do that.
Okay. So what do we got going on there?
So salary there is we cut Amber's salary by 26%. No, so we are now funding that. 25% of that comes from the Affordable Housing Trust.
Okay.
She does some administrative work for them. We also added an expense allowance of $360. That's a phone stipend that I added in there.
Yep.
Other than that, select board is pretty straightforward with the exception of the addition of Follett Well. So every year we have to do DEP reporting on Follett.
Did we have a warrant article for that
Yeah.
last year?
You have
Yeah.
it every year.
Yeah, so then
Yeah.
they're just gonna put in the operating budget.
Yeah.
That's good,
Every
makes
year.
sense. Makes sense.
Every year it's surprising.
so
We're
Yeah.
I'm just curious about placement.
okay.
Why is that under select board?
They're the ones that were paying the bills.
Yeah.
Where else
Okay.
did you, where, did you have
I
another
don't know.
recommended area?
I don't know if that would be like a DPW or
No,
municipal.
it comes through my
or
office, the
Okay.
select board office. So,
All right,
and if I
yeah.
put it in mine, I have to remember it. But if I put it there, Amber has to remember it. So
Yeah.
that's
Gonna
how
say
that
they're
works.
yeah. Okay.
Move it up to P&T.
I was just curious.
Back to Amber's salary, that reduction of 29 that you're passing off, there's still a cost of living adjustment in there,
Oh
right?
yeah,
There's still a raise in there?
yes, absolutely. Yep. Yep, a step and a cola.
Okay, good,
So
excellent. All right, any questions on selectmen? All right, going into, the town administrator's budget.
yep. So this is there's my contractual increase, which is what it is.
Yep.
William, we have a 3-year plan to get him to a more robust assistant town administrator salary.
What's the end goal, 100?
96. Say 100. You
96.
might be watching this.
Oh, sorry, 105?
No. So, but we're trying to make that more reasonable for the area and the amount of work that does. And then, just the next one is just cost of living.
Yep.
No stuff. Anything else in my budget, everything else is level.
So you level funded all expenses.
Correct.
Professional.
And,
What's the Veterans Advisory, $2,000, Evan?
Oh,
That's the
that's
one change.
okay.
That's what
That's
we're
what that
looking
is,
at.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so I needed a home for this. We started a Veterans Advisory Council, and they need funding to do, banners and stuff like that.
Okay.
Printing. So,
That makes sense.
yeah, I think they're another group that's new, but is doing some really cool stuff. So really happy with them.
So town administrator is pretty basic. The two additions, the addition of 2,000 on the veterans, and then the other increase is basically the salaries, getting William up to a reasonable
Correct.
salary.
Yep.
Which is good. Finance committee, oh, those guys, they're out of control.
Is that on?
So
That's next.
that's all zero.
Yep.
Okay.
As is the reserve fund.
Okay, it just wasn't on the agenda, that's.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just going down the list here. So in terms of the reserve fund, Evan, 75,000, it's been forever. You still comfortable with that? Okay.
Yep, I don't think we've come close to spending it all, but it's nice to have that little buffer.
No, it's
been
good
just
to
a
have.
few years we haven't spent hardly anything. There've been years. where-
Yeah.
Whack.
It's one of those things where
Yep.
you need, better to have it and not need
Yep.
it than need it and not
Yep.
have it, so.
And with the finance committee, in terms of materials and all the printing and office supplies and stuff like that, a lot cheaper now that we actually can use a copy machine here at the town hall, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
nice.
so now we just do all that in-house, so.
Thank you for letting us use that.
You're welcome. Stay
Makes
on
a
my good
big
side.
difference.
It really does. So legal, so the legal budget.
Yes.
So I'm sitting here yesterday, and of course, get the SJC decision.
Yep,
And I didn't know she was she was the lawyer for so she won that case.
she did.
Yep.
So now, at meetings, as long as you're nice, when you say it, you're an a-hole, as long as you say it nice, it's allowed. So, great job, Jenny. I'm glad you were able to get that done.
There's some other implications to that, I think.
There's a lot of implications for that
But
decision.
it's,
That's a big win for her.
It is. It is. I talked to her about it a little bit the other day.
I'm sorry.
Nope, I just thought that was
See how
mine.
they go. If you go back though and look at the interaction that led to that,
I did watch it.
but I was like, oh yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, yeah.
It wasn't anything where actually the board members and I randomly talked about this, about public comment and everything, and people get up all the time and say things you don't like. You just wait for them to be done and then they sit down and
And you
go
move on
by-
to the next subject.
There's nothing that says you have to act upon anything.
Nope.
Oh.
So
Or respond or anything.
He never
That's only
should
gonna
have. He
make it
never
worse.
should have cut it off and
Nope.
and
just let her say what she's got to say and then
then move on.
thank you
Move
for
on to
your
the next
comment.
thing.
Next person.
Well, if you guys have any chance to read that decision, it's
I read it.
it's a pretty interesting
Yeah.
decision to read.
It is.
Thank God for John and Samuel Adams back in the day.
I know,
because they
isn't
were
it pretty
very
interesting
important,
that-
very important people.
That still gets pulled up.
It does, it does. So the legal budget, pretty much you level funding it. How's that? 130 is a good number.
Yeah.
You haven't had any issues?
Nope, we've been fine.
When it comes to the LIP projects and all that, and you need assistance on that, the developer pays the legal costs when they come in, or how do we cover that cost?
I've been covering it out of the legal budget.
You have, okay.
Depends on what it is,
Okay.
right? And so I think there's a threshold of, we need counsel to educate us, as opposed to we need counsel to review your proposal. I think those are kind of some different things. So currently, most of that actually all the LIP costs has been in our legal budget.
Okay.
But it's also been, this is new.
Yep.
And so, just pick an attorney that we trust and then get our education that way.
And there hasn't been any issues, any problems, so the 130 will cover it. Well, you got 20 for labor council as
Yep,
well in there.
yep,
So all the departments, like planning board, that all comes out of this
correct.
line item.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Exactly. And I think, should we ever have a huge thing, then we'll be coming back and talking reserve fund.
Yeah.
But if all things remain equal, the 130 does what we need.
Okay. All right. What do we got next?
We did human resources, we did IT.
Yep.
We did copiers.
We're going to do, the town clerk will be here shortly. We'll take care of that. Conservation Commission, any changes in that budget?
No. There's oh yes, sorry, there is. Just quick here. I deleted the request for the field inspector after conversating with Leah. We have not been able to fill that position in its current form, iteration. So we're gonna start up some conversations about regionalized, field inspection, but for the time being, we've been keeping up, so. Just rather than continually fund that with no action.
And then there's a portion of her salary that is paid out of a different bucket, or is that the full salary there?
How are we doing that, Mary?
Yes, there is a portion, I believe, like, almost 10% gets paid out of,
All the wetlands.
yeah,
Wetlands
wetlands.
within- Okay, that's what I thought.
Yep.
I couldn't remember what the,
Before we had the conservation agents, the conservation board were the field people.
That's right.
That went out,
And that's still the way it is in a lot of rural
Yeah.
communities,
yeah.
you know.
any questions on conservation? Now to those spendthrifts at the planning board?
Yep.
What's going on there? I just said that for Dave, if Dave is watching.
Not a lot.
Keep an eye on him.
Not a lot. So, we have a new town planner, Fiona. She's doing a wonderful job, and so that's why there's a decrease there, because she's new. We also, we've been kind of going throughout the budget and reducing overtime. There's all these overtime lines that we can't figure out why you would need that amount of overtime, and then since we've been here 2 years, we've not been utilizing it in the way that I think it was utilized in the past, so some deletes there. We also had to add longevity, that's new, there's a new tier in the GMEA contract.
So go back to the assistant planner, 50,000 consultant. How are you
Oh,
paying for
sorry.
that?
Yeah.
How are you paying for that? From where?
Right over
He
that.
added 25,000 down below.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed we didn't get the assistant planner again this year.
So we're not abandoning the project in its entirety.
Well, I know there's gonna be consultants, but.
No. I mean the idea of
Idea of having
yes.
one?
So I will tell you at the 50 whatever we
50,000.
You knocked it from 50 to
50,000.
consulting for 25.
right. So we were trying to hire an assistant planner at 50. Not gonna happen.
No.
I think we topped out at like 62 trying to get someone. We didn't even have any candidates until we posted for the full-time planner, and then we got one full-time planner candidate and two assistant planner candidates for some reason.
That's funny.
Yeah. So actually, Fiona was an assistant planner candidate, who we just interviewed her and we're like, "Why are you in this room? you should be
there.
you know, you should be running the whole show." So we offered her that, and she took it, which is great. I offered the assistant position to the other candidate, and they declined. So those were the only two candidates we had the entire.
So for now, consulting, so if you do go back to assistant plan, you gotta bump it up, say 65,000 or whatever, how are we gonna fund that? What's the plan?
I would just regularly through operations.
Okay, so we would have to increase that budget?
Yeah, correct.
Are you looking at doing that this fiscal year, next fiscal
No.
year?
Fiscal 25 or
Or later, okay,
Yep.
okay.
So in sitting down with Fiona, she's a brilliant planner. She knows her stuff. It's wonderful. The part that she needs a little growth on is the municipal government side and the administrative side as far as managing staff and staff time and all the rest of it. Because she's done all the planning stuff, hasn't really had the opportunity to lead. So in our conversations, we just thought it would probably be better and less stressful to hire a consultant that has, 30 years in the municipal planning. Did I say accounting just a minute ago?
You almost
Okay,
did.
I apologize. The planning side, and then, train Fiona up on that side. And she felt way more comfortable with that than trying to hire someone new while she's learning and, add that level of complexity.
So are we staying with the same consultant that she's been working with?
Yeah,
So-
that's what we're
yeah.
pursuing currently.
Okay.
And I would anticipate that's what's gonna happen.
Cause she'd really like to stay with that person.
Yeah, so she's, so we're using Eve Tapper. She's from Planners in a Pinch.
Yeah.
And she's
That's the name of the organization, Planners in a Pinch?
yeah, and that's what she does. Is you
That's
lose
awesome.
your planner and
She
she'll
goes
come
all
in
over.
and be your planner, which is
pinch.
yeah,
In a
it's
pinch.
awesome. It actually, I'm telling you, she was a lifesaver.
Well, she's very knowledgeable. I
She is, and
understand.
so she's going to be helping Fiona up to 10 hours a week.
Yep.
We also just got we're working on a grant with CMRPC to do a regional housing coordinator position. So it's a pilot program. So year one is we get 4 hours a week of staffing and there's no cost in year one.
Oh, wow.
So it's, 200 hours basically of free labor. And then, then we'll assess it at that time, whether that's something we wanna do or not. But yeah, pretty good.
Oh, that's
program.
nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, excited about that one.
We covered appeals board, with Bob, economic development. How's that working with the part-time? Remember we go back and forth on that, part-time, full-time, full-time, part-time?
Yeah, I think,
In, out, fund separately, go here,
I think part-time is working.
okay?
I wouldn't look to make any changes currently.
Did John Allen go?
So, we have,
No.
we've kind of level funded that. John has made some requests. I'm not entirely sold on the requests at this current time.
For increases in spending?
Yeah.
What's the idea? Do you wanna, you don't even wanna, you don't, okay.
No,
never mind.
I don't think we need to go
Okay.
line by line, but it is a meager budget for what we're asking for. I mean, we did just get, if you look at 124 Westboro Road, it's hard with economic development to say like, oh, John did that, he brought them here, but he's the one that developed the relationship with those, bio-specific companies that are looking at that. Now we're gonna have 2 industrial buildings on that one site, just fantastic.
That's awesome.
So
Because-
he's doing a great job. I just don't know that we need more. Than
He sent me an email and wanted to talk to the finance committee about more money, but he didn't say what for.
yeah,
So, and I referred him back to you guys, so,
yeah, and I declined to do that
Okay.
at the current time.
okay.
Just looking at the rest of the budget and the conversation we're having about override, I didn't feel like that. This is
Yeah.
the time.
Yep.
honestly.
All right, so we covered unclassified. Oh, does anybody have any other questions on economic development? Everybody good there? We did inspect the buildings, wire, gas, plumbing.
Can we do debt for a minute? Because I'm.
Oh, yeah, debt, we should spend time on debt.
So Mary, being much smarter than I am, set up all of the account numbers that you'll see on the screen when you're in ClearGov for the debt transfers.
Yep,
And the ending of the account number is the date it was issued and then the date it'll roll off.
oh, that's a great
Right?
idea. Oh, wow.
Fumbling around over here, Mary's like, why don't you just look at the account? So, no,
And that's because ClearGov, you can create your own account numbers, is that, or is this,
No, this is in Vadar, so.
Oh.
I set segments, and so this is how I was used to it in Munson, and I was able to always know when debt rolls off. And by always seeing the account numbers, I'd be like, oh yeah, that, I know.
That's
when
gone next
It's
year.
gone, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's excellent.
Can
Yeah,
you
and
send
I-
that to us?
Oh, certainly,
can
and
look
I
at it?
set up the trial balance that way, cause I have a debt fund that has all of the balances that have rolled all into it. So I set up that fund that way too, but I'll send this information to you.
That would be good to see.
So, oh, sorry, go ahead, Greg.
Sorry,
That's
there's,
just the interest, if you go up, then,
Okay.
then you
Right.
have your principal, so we called out the, so if you, last year in Sofrite, it only had one line for your principal and we had one line for interest. And if I had any missing payments, it was really hard for me to determine, oh, what one was missed. And so when on the account conversion, I called out every debt. So every bond debt schedule has its own line and interest.
Do you have a summary that shows included debt, excluded debt, and then sewer debt? Is there a summary line that we can see the actual numbers?
I can tell you, I can highlight those ones for you when I send out the information.
Yeah, if you could, just so that we have an understanding what's outside the levy, what's
Okay.
inside the levy, and what sewer debt is. Just so we have an idea, although most of our debt, if not all of it, is excluded, right? Pretty much?
a lot of it, yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of it.
Okay.
so there's multiple for the high school because there are multiple separate
Yes.
accounts.
So like when you initially ban for like a school, it could be 40 million, but like they'll do it in phases.
Okay.
And so then the taxpayer's not hit all at once. It's
You permanently finance it as the project goes along, to
Yes.
take advantage of interest rates and
Yeah,
things like
yeah.
that.
So there's-
That's what we did with our
the market
school,
might be
yeah.
playing really well the $40 million bonds, but $100 million bonds nobody wants to touch. So you'll phase them in, and then we'll have 3 different notes.
So where are we in terms of bonding on the library and the DPW? facility, are we 100% done with those? We've
So
bonded it
I'm-
all?
I'm carrying the band for the library, MBLC is paying us, and so I'm expected to receive, as they give us our payments yearly, I pay down the band. Currently, we have a $4.2 million band, I'm gonna reduce that by about 2 million this April, and then next year it will be fully paid off.
Nice, nice. And then what are we looking at, a 20-year payback for the remaining money on the project?
Right, and
Okay.
that's already been banned.
And that's already been banned,
Yes.
okay, so you've already permanently financed what the town's portion is, and now the ban, you're using the money from the state to pay that off.
Correct,
All right, where are we with the DPW? Is that all permanently financed?
yes.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay,
that's right there, the
All right,
DPW building construction.
Can't even see it.
oh, okay, I see it, there it
Right-
is. Yeah, I got it, I see it,
Here.
I got it.
I'm glad
My
you
eyes aren't
said
what they,
I
yeah,
can't-
my eyes aren't what they used to be.
I
I
can't
can,
see a thing.
you know, in theory, make this bigger.
Needs to be bolder.
All right, that's so good with the account numbers, I like that. That's a good
This
way to
is
do that.
better than what we used to get for debt schedule.
No, this is very clear, easy to
Yep.
follow, and all the numbers are right there, which is excellent. We've got a lot of debt for a lot of years.
Yep.
So it looks now, the earliest we're gonna be, we got something going off in 24 and 23, and then we got the energy conservation in 29, and then nothing until 30 after that, right?
Yeah.
And then just because Evan sees that, he's excited, he wants to get more debt, right?
I don't want any more debt. Only excluded debt.
Only excluded debt. All right, any questions on debt?
Are we close to paid off Blackstone Valley debt? We must be close to
I
that.
believe, FY '24 will be the last year.
Was our last year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Candy, I see you're here, and so I don't want to keep you waiting, so if you want to come up. And then whatever we have left, Evan will do after Candy.
Just,
7 minutes until 1.
Thank you for keeping track of that, Skip.
The lollipop's gone, Mark.
I saw that. I had the town clerk here a minute ago. There she is. All right, Candy, if you want to walk us through your budget, you might as well start off with the one that's looking like a 24% increase.
Absolutely.
So we're ready to listen to you.
Sure. So, few things. So I've requested this year for my own figure versus what generally has just been, increased by what most department heads are getting. So I took it upon myself to do a little bit of research on other department heads, prior town clerks. I don't have data for the town clerks community in general. Monday they will be releasing that. They just did a survey, so I can update everybody with that once I have it, which they have pretty much every community, I believe, or pretty close to every community put in the figures, so we'll have a good chart to go by. But looking over the last 5 years of department heads and the town clerks that were previously there, I feel I am not paid what I could be compared to the classification compensation. Yes, I am elected, but I am classification on there on tier 7, and seeing what some others are making, I am raising that. I as you know, I'm in charge of the clerk and the elections. I have 2 of my 3 designations. I took an archival program back when Donna was in charge for the town, for grants that we received. I'm also the public records access officer, which I do not get any extra compensation for, and we do get lots of those. So I'm requesting to go up to 92,000. That way, not only with this classification as it's supposed to be to increase people, so that way, your salaries aren't going to be catastrophic like this increases. That way, over time, that, you can bump that up. This is what I'm requesting.
So my recollection is we bumped this salary up pretty significantly 2 years ago, did we not?
You did, and I have some stuff here too that back when that happened in 19, after talking with Tim, he said, let's settle for 70,000 this year, and the next fiscal year go up to 75, which never happened. It's now going into fiscal 24, and I haven't even reached 75,000.
But what did we go to when we went, what were you at? Was it like 59 to 70?
It was, yes, and.
So what percentage increase is 59 to 70? And that was done 2 years ago, if I remember correctly, correct?
That'd be about 18.
18%? All right, so we had an 18% 2 years ago, and we're looking for a 24% this year.
And then once it's
And what
here-
job, let me ask you this question, what job functions have changed since 2 years ago when we bumped you up the 18% to justify a 24% increase, other than people are making more?
Elections. Elections have now become very technical. They're overtaking town clerk functions, as you know. Mail-in voting is staying, early voting is staying. I mean, just all the changes that are going through. So that's the biggest drive for that. And obviously just looking at the data that the town is doing and putting out salary information, that is a big drive for me as well. So I do have that information, and
You have copies for us that you can share with us?
yeah, I have some
Please.
information here. So these are the department head salaries, and then I have.
And you said the town clerk comps will be out next week?
I believe they said Monday they should have them. So once that's out, I can definitely do that. And for that, and then this is the other thing from Tim. So there's two things there. There are a couple of missing things that Krista didn't finish getting, which she will send them to me for salaries, but that is just, what I took. And I only printed 10, so I hope I have enough.
Skip and I'll share, because we like to
Okay.
share things.
Yep.
Skip doesn't share well, though.
And also to answer, the Public Records Access Officer, like I said, is another duty that I take, and we average sometimes between 50, if not more, a year that I have to obviously track and then work with other departments to get and make sure that they're completed. And there is no compensation for that. And just by default, the town clerk is usually the one to have that role. And there's nowhere saying that it has to be the town clerk. It just falls because we generally have all the archives and whatnot, so.
There seems to be sufficient copies for you all to get your own. And I don't have to share with you.
Perfect. No sharing required.
No bunch is gonna be.
And as you'll see too, the town clerk position with salary has gone down versus up. And I do get there's a lot that probably factors in there, but everybody else seems to be going up. And we go the wrong direction.
Well, I'm going to disagree saying that you've gone in the wrong direction. The Finance Committee supported a pretty hefty raise 2 years ago, 11% increase to try to get you up there. And, I'd like to see the salaries of the comp clerks, but I would have a hard time supporting a 24% increase in 1 year when I know elections have gotten a little bit more complicated, but an election is still an election. And I think a 24% increase in 1 year is, I can't support that type of increase in 1 year. Now, if there's a plan that we can put in place to do it over time, I think that makes sense. But I don't know, you guys all chime in. I think 24% in 1 year is just way too much. But
I'd
go
like to
ahead.
chime in too once.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me give the
Yeah.
Finance Committee a chance to weigh in.
I have no problem if we could do it in a couple of years and get her up there, because I agree with her. She's taking on more with the elections
Sure.
that the state has put upon us, so I don't have a problem if we do it in,
In phases.
phases, yes.
Nick,
I was just gonna say, the Monday information probably matters too, right?
Okay.
Understanding the other comps.
yeah, that'll be important to get that information as soon as possible, because we're gonna try to finalize the budget on Wednesday. So we'll need to understand where that is. So that's a good point, Nick. Victoria, is there anything you want to say?
No, I agree. Seeing how competitive we are is going to be a really important piece to it. And having some sort of scheduled out makes sense as well, and we can figure out what that schedule looks like based on how competitive we are.
Thank you, Victoria. Skip?
I don't have anything to add. It's just the general understanding how things have gone over time, in, putting together something on a going forward basis and memorializing that a bit more than perhaps may have occurred in the past.
Yeah. There's no question that the position of town clerk 3 years ago in this town was underpaid. And we took a position, and I think we all supported that increase to get up to the number that it is now. And I want to continue to see that, but I don't know, I just have a hard time justifying a 24% increase in 1 year. Go ahead. Nothing to say? Oh, understood. So this is our former election worker, Greg. Dan.
Yeah, I guess I want to see the rest of the data from the comparable communities.
Yeah, I think we have to make them comparable. I don't think we can just say.
Yeah,
No.
you're right. Acting in a vacuum is gonna.
I think the point about a 2-year plan having kind of been unofficially agreed to before, and then the second year not coming through, which I think maybe because the other side of that agreement was no longer working for the town, that's an important point too.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think one of the things that, and I know, Evan, you've done this with a couple of positions that we've seen it in here. I think the recreation director was one that you had a phased in increase, and I'm seeing from you over the 2 years, you make a commitment, you've stuck to the commitment, and I appreciate that. And I think if we come to an agreement here, moving forward, based on whatever information we get. I mean, if all of a sudden the information comes in and the average salary is $110,000, then that's a different conversation.
Right.
But I think we can support a phased-in increase based on the information. I just would have a hard time standing on the floor of town meeting supporting a 24% increase for one position. I just can't. I can't see that. I can't see that being supported on the floor of town meeting. I think that'll cause a lot of grief in the budget process.
Yeah, with the increases that are based on the salary study, I feel like that's much easier to say, well, the salary study said so. And so for this, I think having those other comparable communities would really be important to make that case.
You wanted to say some more, so go ahead, Candy.
Yeah, like I said, I just have a hard time with the phases just because of past discussions. And hopefully, this time it would be more set in stone. I think, my rationale on things is that I had a job, I love my job, and I was doing it, so whatever. But when you see other people coming in, making more, getting more, moving up, that is an issue. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we work very hard in that office. We have a great team. I mean, we do everything that we can. I mean, we don't always get it right, but hey, we're there, we try, we do our thing, and, we're public servants, but at the same time, if I were to leave, it'd be bumped up. So it's one of those.
I'm gonna disagree with that. That not necessarily. It depends, because it's an elected position. So you're not out on the marketplace competing for a clerk from another town. If we hire somebody, we would have to hire somebody that lives in Grafton. So, right?
We would have to, the elected person would fill the position.
No.
They could be Bozo the clown.
Yeah, I know, but you would fill the position. The selectmen would appoint a town clerk to the next election. So they would they would appoint somebody, but they would have to appoint a Grafton. I forget where I am. A Grafton resident, because it's an elected position. Now, if it was an appointed position, then you're in a market competition, and I think it's a different argument. So elected versus appointed, when it comes to competitive salary, makes a little bit of a difference, because you took over for Donna, was that her name?
Yep.
When Donna left, and we paid you less than Donna. So don't automatically assume that if you left tomorrow and the selectmen appointed somebody, we're going to pay them more, because it's not the same. It's not the same as, right? I'm just based on history. Go ahead.
But I think in terms of competitiveness, for on like the hiring side, the candidates are limited to Grafton residents. But from Candy's perspective, she's qualified to work as town clerk appointed in other communities. Sure. So for her, we're competing against other communities, or for any candidate who wanted to appoint interim, or we wanted to consider running for election in Grafton.
Yep.
Their job opportunities are extend beyond Grafton's town clerk. So that in that sense, we would need we do kind of need.
It's a little funky, is what it is.
Yeah.
No.
Good way to describe it.
Yeah, if you wanna talk straight up appointed, then we'll change the charter. You can become appointed, and then we'll come back and talk about this in 10 years when the charter
Candy, I
gets
can
changed.
understand
Tried
your
that a couple times
apprehension about phasing, but that was a different administration.
Absolutely.
And I would have more confidence that if we phased it in, then Evan would follow through.
Evan has a 2-year track record where he has
Right.
made commitments based on the salary.
Right.
When you did the salary survey, where was the town clerk in terms of that salary survey? What was the,
Might have to pull, well,
7.
where she is now. We're
so,
following the salary study currently.
so when you did the salary study 2 years ago, when you upped everybody last year, that survey came in 74,000 was the right number for town clerk?
Yes, it was, I mean, it's a range.
I don't. I
Yeah.
think we.
Yes.
I don't remember the
Inside
whole
that range,
conversation.
yes.
It was inside that range.
I don't know what step we're on. I can pull that out for you too.
I'd like to see what the range is, because
That and
That's a
the
good question.
information on Monday.
Mary's grabbing it right now.
because the salary that's gonna come out on Monday is gonna be town clerks throughout the state.
Right, and they're gonna be picked by
So-
different things and
Well, yeah,
different
so we're gonna have to look
populations
at,
and-
I would wanna take the comp, because every salary that you based your department heads on was based on those comps that you had.
Right.
So I don't wanna use a different set of comps, because say we town clerks come in and the average salary is 100,000, but none of those are comps to Grafton. I don't wanna all of a sudden have the town clerk based on these comps and the
Everybody
town accountant
else.
based on somebody else.
Right.
We have to be consistent. Would you all agree on that? So I think when we get that information on Monday, we're gonna have to look,
Yeah, we have the 14 towns that we.
perfect. I'd like to see that, and then I'd like to plug that in and see what that says.
Sure.
Yeah, it'd be
Does that
interesting
make
to-
sense?
It would be interesting to take that salary survey, see what's happened if those towns are included in what Candy gets back on
Yep.
Monday.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at like positions in general, there's a jump for finance staff throughout the Commonwealth. So you could have done a study 2 years ago, and
It's out of bounds.
it's
then.
out of
Yeah.
bounds because
Yeah.
there's nobody to do the work,
Right.
right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's those to me are outliers as far as what we see happening in the marketplace.
Yeah,
I think it's hard to compare yourself to other department heads. Can't, I mean, it's kind of apples to oranges, just because, and I'm not saying that your job is any less. I'm just saying, just like he said, different jobs unfortunately have a different level of, so that's hard for me to, and I feel for you because I get it, but it's hard to, I know you love your job and you think, and I'm not saying this to, to belittle what you do, but you love it and you think that you guys work hard. I know you do because I've seen you, but it's hard to equate yourself to other department heads. It's, I don't know if anyone else agrees.
I agree with you, Heather, 100% on that.
It's hard to do
Yeah,
that,
It's hard.
but I do want to see what the other towns are. And it's also another thing that another level that you have to add in, and I know you have a lot of extra classes that you've done and certifications that you've done. So I think when you put yourself up against we all have to do this, when we put you up against the other towns, again, it has to be apples to apples. What do they have what do you have above them or less than them that can make it so that you should get the same salary as, say, West, whatever town, because you had the same certifications. So am I making sense, or am I just
Yeah,
rambling?
it does, and that's why you can't just take this survey that comes in on Monday and say, oh, well, we're gonna average it out or do whatever, and,
Yeah, because
you gotta know
if
what's
do
behind the
that,
numbers.
It might hurt her.
Yeah,
do
oh,
that.
yeah.
Well, not that too, but back to your argument on the department heads, comparing to other department heads, they're all appointed. They're accountable to you as the appointing authority. You can discipline them if there's an issue. You can freeze raises if there's a problem. You have a lot more control. With an elected position, it's just a different dynamic, and it's hard to do that. You know, one of the arguments that we made in Groton when we went from elected to appointed successfully is that the accountability piece was a huge factor in that role. So that's another thing that we would have to try to figure out in terms of it. But I will say this, if we do come to an agreement on a phased-in approach, there's no question in my mind that this gentleman will include that in the budget.
Yeah,
I have no doubt in my mind that you will. If we say, Evan, we want to get to 92,000 over 3 years, I know we'll get to 92,000 over 3 years.
Well, the other thing I think is different about this is, I don't think, did you have that conversation with Tim in public or private?
It was him and Becca one day. I
Right,
think
so-
when we
So
were discussing
in
our
private, we were never aware of that.
You're filmed.
Right.
No, we
Right,
didn't.
so
You're
well, that
recorded.
was one of the reasons when Katie and I started discussing this, and she's
Yeah.
obviously elected, and I control the budget. It doesn't feel right to me having her be elected to, I'm the end all be all. So that's why I had said, we'll put it in ClearGov, and then we'll all discuss it
Which is
as a
great.
group.
And it's out in the public, people can watch it, listen to it.
Right, because it increases that transparency. I'm not gonna just make a.
So I know I'm gonna get some hate mail, which is fine. I'm used to it, so, but it's a position that I just really have a hard time with such a major increase in one year. That's how I feel
No,
about
I
it.
agree. It's hard, yeah, I agree.
So, go ahead,
But
Candy.
again, I wanna
I'm sorry,
see
Heather.
what the other I wanna see the other towns. I wanna, and again, you have, we can't just look at one town and say, well, they get 60, it's equal. Well, she's done a lot to get herself bumped up, a lot of certifications, and so we gotta look at that. You have to look at that.
It's holistic, yeah.
I think we need to look at what their responsibilities, if they're the same
100%.
as.
It's a lot, it's gonna be a lot of, I think it's gonna be extra work above just looking at numbers.
Right.
Can't
Yeah.
look at numbers.
And that's
agree.
kind of what I was
Yes.
making for a
Is that
point.
is that available? Like, will you be able to get the certifications for other towns and
I think it's gonna have to be phone
responsibilities
calls.
and yeah?
I'm guessing, I don't know. Is
There
that
might
how-
be some on the survey itself, but yeah, I think it's going to have to probably be reaching out and requesting that.
Yeah, I think.
Well,
I think-
let's see
and
what-
we've done
see
that
what
for-
comes in.
We haven't, but I think that's been done, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Not
I
necessarily
think
for her.
you'll find that the clerks of similar sized towns will be pretty close as far
Okay.
as certification. I mean, they're all.
There's
trying
not
to do
many,
the same.
so yeah.
There's not a lot, so
Yeah.
I don't think it's a
Okay.
huge.
Good.
I don't think it's a huge lift.
Okay.
Okay, so anything else you want to add on the salary piece?
I did, but now I can't remember what I was gonna say.
I'm sorry, we can come back to it.
Yeah, we'll come back.
All right, so, administrative personnel, that is going up, based on the contract,
Based on compensation classification.
okay?
So we.
Go ahead.
We also, so that position is gonna be, open shortly, and so we know that was, I don't think that's competitive any longer.
The 51,000 is not competitive. You may even have to go higher than 58, maybe?
Maybe, we'll see what our candidate pool looks like, but,
Have we advertised yet?
should be out Monday.
Monday.
We just gotta, I think there's one tweak that needs to happen, and then it goes.
All right, and then the, administrative go ahead.
Just excuse me, what are the difference in responsibilities for the assistant as to administrative personnel?
Florida.
He or she is basically filling my shoes when I'm not there. The administrative is more like secretarial work.
Because there isn't much difference in salary, right?
Well,
So-
that was because Jane, who's in the position or for that position, she's been there for 20 something
Okay,
years.
all
So
right, gotcha.
she's, you know.
Different ends of the
Yeah.
pay scale.
Yep, gotcha.
So I take it the longevity and the stipend is contractual? Who's the the $1,000 stipend
That's
for who?
me for my certification. The longevity is for Jane currently, and
Let me ask you a
That's it.
question.
Mhm.
Why are we putting the stipend in a different line item? Why don't we just move that up to salaries? Because you're getting it anyway. Why do we have that separate?
They're all separate.
In every department budget?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's how we do it.
And also
Okay.
because you don't wanna do, well, I guess, because if you're doing a percent,
Oh, then it's built on the stipend as well. Gotcha. Well, wait a minute. Now, your argument for the increase up top is because you're certified, to get to 92,000, and then we have $1,000 stipend down here. Doesn't that double dipping?
One's the states.
Oh, okay.
That's I can't remember the MGL off the top of my head, but
Didn't we do that at town meeting
yeah, you
with the last couple of years?
We did
or
it for the
something?
assessor.
I thought we did it for candy
The
too.
I
treasurer
did it
collector.
like within
Accepted those.
3-4
Yep.
years.
Yeah.
yeah, you have to accept that particular MGL to be able to
Yep.
do it.
To do it. All right, and then everything else is level funded. in
Pretty
terms of
much.
expenses?
Professional and technical went up because of like increases to their costs.
Yep.
And yeah, pretty much everything else has stayed the same.
Professional and technical actually went down.
I'm sorry?
Because we moved something around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, into elections. How many elections do we have next year?
So we have, so July, so 1, 2, I think we have 3. I can't remember.
So you have a presidential,
Yep, so we
you have
have
a presidential
March,
primary?
May,
There'll be
and-
2 during fiscal year.
yeah,
24.
and then the 2 town meetings.
And the increases seems really small. Is that enough to cover all those elections? We had one more election this year because we had the primary or something?
Yeah, I think so. We all sat together.
Okay,
There were 3 this fiscal year. There'll be 3 next.
okay. And what do we pay the
Two next
election workers, except
So-
for Greg?
So we just increased them when Carter was here, so we're up to 10, 12, 50, and 15.
Okay. Yeah, because they're exempt from minimum wage?
Yep.
Okay.
They put
I learned that.
long-
I didn't know that. I thought they were supposed to get minimum wage.
I don't know. Just said it out loud. I just nodded. Yeah, sure. Okay.
Well, as long as you meet the federal minimum wage, right?
Not the
Like
state minimum.
have-
You have to meet the
yes,
federal. Okay.
yes.
All right.
To have to sit in those hot gyms all day to register voters is unbelievable.
We have some.
Just
of
to
the
go
most
in and vote
dedicated-
for 10 minutes, you roast to death in the gym. So,
We have a great team.
No, you do. You do. Even Greg. So, any questions on elections?
Yes.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Dan.
With with increasing the pay for election workers, do we think that might help fill more seats?
I don't know. It's not meant to supplement anybody's income, but I mean, and most people don't even realize they're getting paid. But honestly, it's the truth. But I mean, it doesn't. Like they said, it's long hours. It's we do take care of them. We do provide meals. Like most towns don't do as much. I mean, we do like breakfast, lunch, dinner for them. So we try to take care of them. But I mean, it is a big role now with everything that they have to do. So, I mean, I'm not against that. I think they work very hard. Like I said, we've had some people that have been doing it before. I mean, I was even here longer than I've been alive. They love it. And, and honestly, so, I mean, anything we could give to them and they're just a great group. I'm all for that.
I don't remember who it was, but my first election I worked, we were having a conversation at lunch and one of the people had worked JFK's election.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. This is
You're
what I'm
kidding.
saying.
Whoa.
We have some amazing people. And, those people are looking to reduce their roles, but they still want to help in some capacity. And I never turn anybody away. But, it doesn't hurt if we can give them something extra. Absolutely. I'm all for that.
All right. Anything else for Candy? So in terms of the salary, Evan and Candy, when you get the information in, if we can get that as soon as you have it with the 14 comp towns, so that we can take a look at that, so that Wednesday night, we're gonna finalize the budget, hopefully Wednesday night after we meet with the show,
Blackstone.
thank you, Blackstone,
And library.
and the library. And once we do that, as long as we can take a look at that, that would be great. All right,
When we get it from Candy, I can
get it out to us?
correlate it to what we had and then
Send it right out. Perfect. Any other questions for Candy? Go ahead.
Were we able to find the money this year for increase in poll pads, or is that?
We
That
talked about
have to be
that, so
next year.
that we were going to need them before the budget.
Yeah, what did I do?
I think you were going to look into that.
Okay.
So you need more poll pads?
Yes,
Yes.
for
I'm
the
looking
mail-in.
into it.
So we currently have one
What are they,
per precinct.
$1,300 a piece? $1,300 a piece, Candy?
I'm sorry?
$1,300 a piece for the
I have
full
a
pads?
quote. Yeah, I forget what it was. I'm sorry. I didn't come prepared for
Basically,
that.
we have one per precinct, and that when the precincts are busy, it backs up the mail-in. So we want to have two per precinct. So one dedicated for in-person and one dedicated for mail and warden and clerk use.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yep.
So, would we do like a line item transfer to get those? Would we do a special article at town meeting?
I don't remember.
Okay. When you remember, let us know.
Plausible deniability.
Nobody's as surprised as me hearing it.
So
from this.
We have $75,000 we could do that with.
So five. I think it was
Five.
like no more than 12,000. I want to say to get five more.
Yeah.
But
So it would be nice to have them
Money
for
well
May,
spent.
but
Those things are awesome.
they're amazing.
Yep.
yeah, so it would be nice to have them for May, but really we definitely want to have them by.
Well, let me ask a question.
presidential.
What do we got in the reserve fund right now? Have we done any reserve fund
$75,000.
transfers? Have we done any this year? Do we want to consider a reserve fund transfer for the poll pads on Wednesday?
Well, why don't we see what Evan,
What, he's thinking, see the smoke coming?
I was actually thinking right now, I'm like, I wonder if I can get that out of the reserve fund.
I'd be
There's
willing
probably
to
a
take-
fair chance.
I'd be willing to take a look at that if you want to bring
Yeah,
that
'cause
up.
otherwise-
Is that all right with the rest of the committee if we talk about
Otherwise,
that
it's
Wednesday?
gonna hit the IT budget in some way. Either I gotta backfill it later or.
All right, so let's.
Yeah.
I agree. Having the poll pads are amazing. It makes your life so much easier. Makes the election workers' life so much easier. Makes tracking who's voting so much easier. So, if you want to come Wednesday night, I think that's a wonderful idea.
There you go. I handled it, Candy.
You're awesome. Thanks.
because that's really a necessity. that
I
we-
think
Yeah.
it is a necessity. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank God.
I'll remember.
You do. You are too funny. Any other questions for Candy? Thank you so much for coming in on a Saturday. We appreciate it.
And I do have one more comment where I wanted to say, just to
Go ahead.
clarify that the first initial talk with Tim was in his office, just presenting to him the figures to go from there. So, everybody knows that, how that worked, but, and we did that too, when I initially met with this one with Evan and Mary, so, but,
Oh, I thought you just got a big dig. I thought that's what came through, but no.
no, I'm just saying, it's nothing that wasn't, brought out at some point, so.
But Evan, I appreciate the fact that, you could have, your budget, you could have said no and just put a number in there. You gave Candy the opportunity to come in and put it in public. I think that's good that he did that.
Well,
Well,
this one is more reliable.
I also said I plan to do what I have to do, so.
Yeah. She threatened to fight me. So I was like, all right, fine. Right on town meeting floor.
Yes.
This one.
Excellent.
We're
All right.
all kind of interchangeable.
Thank you, Candy.
Thank you.
All right, back to we have a couple more budgets to look at. Fuel, you're going $50,000 more in fuel this year, Evan. Is that because of the gas prices are out of control? Or do we have more equipment?
I'm sorry, I was doing something else.
Oh, fuel increase of 50,000.
That just cost more money. We've constantly been overspending
So
that.
you're putting that at what you're actually spending.
Yeah, closer to you.
Is that natural gas or?
No, that's like the truck.
Gasoline.
Oh,
Diesel
I
and
see.
gas.
Yeah.
I guess.
All right, let's look at that crazy Nelson budget.
Oh yeah, what do you want to?
What's going on with that one?
Nothing. I just put in for a little bit more of energy stuff, contemplating that we will have new tenants.
All right.
They take you for new tenants,
Well, I have an arrangement with a firm.
but the library is gonna be out.
Yeah.
Oh, library's done.
Yeah, we're.
Yeah, with the recreation department's going to move up to the library side.
Okay.
We've been slowly but surely filling up the dumpster up there with,
Yeah.
the old stuff
Right.
from.
And Skip, I have a lease agreement that I gotta get over to you. That's a part
Oh,
of
so we can have a meeting for that. Okay.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Evan, sanitation is
Oh,
going.
for-
Oh, sorry.
Oh, not for the.
For
Rec
our use-
department.
Yeah, for our use of.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I just had some.
Stuff done. Yeah. Okay.
'Cause I'm not worried about it, but I'm not, what if I'm not
Well,
here?
yeah,
The
and-
next person says, that's a dumb idea, get out, or whatever. So you'll have this as coverage for the Nelson Park folks.
All right, sanitation is going up 1.747%. so all that's obviously in tipping fees.
Yep, and it's part of our, yes, tipping fees and then just contractual increase.
And you had mentioned the other day that you're not looking for any increase in back fees or anything like that.
No, I think that's something we need to look at every 2 years.
Okay.
I think people would be very upset if we did it annually, but we do need to try to peg it to about 50% of what we're currently paying.
All right, snow and ice, your level funding, obviously you don't wanna increase that.
Nope.
We haven't spent too much this year, have we?
What are people doing?
Always do.
I didn't say it.
No.
Ice,
No.
I mean, there is ice that's
No,
salting.
we've spent a bit, but I think we're in good shape.
I think
You're-
when I
you're-
last
yeah,
I
it's definitely a
talked-
mild winter.
Yeah, I think when I talked to
still have
Kevin.
over- we still overspent.
Until
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Till Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah, I think Kevin said they did only 21, went out 21 times
Yeah.
salting and stuff.
Once for plowing and
Yeah,
21 for
salting.
salting.
Yeah, salting.
Which was way-
Those storms are obnoxious, the material storms are obnoxious.
But I
Which
said
is-
that's like 20% of normal for that
Right.
time of year.
But that was the lowest they've been
Yeah.
this
Knock
time
on
of
wood.
year.
Everyone knock on wood.
Yeah.
Street lights, level funded, we're not gonna shut any off, we're happy with those street lights.
Yeah, we're doing okay.
All right, and then, let's see, health department. How are we doing with our regional,
So
with our
health
consortium?
department, you'll see a decrease in that.
How come?
We got, due to COVID, there is a pot of money in the coalition from them not being able to staff all the positions that they had. So we're applying that balance to our agreement to buy it down
Over how many years?
over 5 years.
Oh, okay, so this is consistent, because now all of a sudden you take a 1 year hit and the next year it's another 10 grand or whatever.
Yeah, it has an incremental rise to it, and I think I put that in the notes.
comment.
Yeah. So if you look, I'll actually put it up here, I don't know if I can make it. So.
Oh, here it is. You do
24
have it right here.
Yeah,
Yep.
116, 128, 138, 148.
150, okay. And so you have it built into the budget and you understand what the impact is over time?
Correct, yep.
Any questions on Board of Health?
Oh, Board of Health, not Health Department. That's why I was confused.
Well, when I say Board of Health, I mean Health Department.
So I do
I'm
have
not-
a
I'm
quick
not saying
question
that.
for you on this
Right
particular
there. No, go to the next page.
budget.
Go to the,
Ah,
right
okay,
there,
there we
that's
go.
what he's talking about.
How did this
Oh,
transfer
professional
over to
technical,
you?
Okay.
Board of Health,
Yeah.
in Grafton, the town administrator appoints all the employees in there, and so that's just been mine, and the Board of Health does their daily operation stuff. It's government, Skip.
Well, no, when I did it,
Yeah.
we did the budget and we were appointed, we were appointed then too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know, this is how it's been since
I-
I've gotten here.
Yeah. Well, I gotta ask you, there was some,
First year, the Board of Health Committee was here. They did present the budget.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Well,
didn't
we
ask
also chose not to bring in.
We chose
everybody.
not to bring them in this year. We chose not to bring in the planning board. We chose not to bring in
Well,
the conservation. We chose not to bring in the,
didn't,
we had that conversation, remember? We said we
Well-
had to cut down. And we let Evan handle it.
Yeah, so,
Were you
I mean,
there
this
when they
is
had
what-
that discussion?
well, at
They
the meet,
submitted, let me back up, they submitted this
Yeah.
to us.
yeah,
I didn't just make it up, but.
No,
then
no,
I can
no.
tweak it from there.
I understand that.
But we
I
didn't-
got asked when I was up the other day, is like, well, how come this money's out? I said, well, it's your budget. How the hell would,
Oh, yeah, nobody
no,
asked.
oh, no,
I can-
yeah.
okay,
No,
I
but
can
that's-
go back if they
don't-
don't know.
But we.
No,
we-
so that kind of tells it got taken over, is what happened.
Yeah,
You, nothing that you did.
No, I don't.
Yeah, I think it got passed over to the town administrator's office from,
Well, that's because we regionalized the Board of Health.
But not only that, did you want them to come in?
no.
Oh,
No, I
hold on.
understand what you're saying, Skip.
I'm confused.
Yeah.
When Skip was on Board of Health, they had to do their budget.
Right.
We
the whole
developed the
thing.
budget, did all kinds of stuff with it. We did have some of those kind of
And it
agreements
seems
and stuff
now
like
it's
that.
more-
It's like,
more
now all of a
pure
sudden,
autopilot.
yeah.
gotcha.
So, and that's a fair point, Skip. I honestly haven't circled back with the.
No,
budget
it's-
either. Cause I do the contracting for the, regional alliance. And then I added a part-time employee in there. That's something else you'll see.
Time moves on, Skipper.
All right,
But the snow and ice, we've expended 212,000.
how are you gonna make it
Yeah.
up? Line item transfers at the end of the year? Okay. So you're not carrying any deficit into next fiscal year, you're gonna get rid of it in this fiscal year?
As long as it stays where it is, yeah.
Okay.
If Sue jinxes us and it costs us another 400,000, then that's a different.
Then it's coming out of her pay increase that we
Yeah,
It'll-
take it out of
Then
my
you
pay
just
increase.
pave, redo George Hill, but skip over in front of
Yeah, in front of your house. That
That-
French drain you were talking about, it's gonna open up at her house.
Hey, there's a brook that runs in my neighbor's yard. A lot of water goes through there all the time.
Yeah.
Never dries up.
It's wet up there.
Yep.
It really is.
It's a phenomenon.
I'm surprised it has
Geographical
more of a
phenomenon.
river.
Yeah.
George Hill rain.
Veteran services, what are we doing? Have we found a new veterans agent?
Yes, we do. We have a gentleman's name is Jeff, and he is fantastic. He's a former
His name is
Marine.
what?
Jeff.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Yep. Blanking on his last name right now, which I wish I wasn't doing in public. Amber, what's his name?
Oh, you put me on the spot?
Yeah. Yeah. You're.
Smith, Jeff
Yeah,
Smith.
yeah.
No, it's Jeff something. I'll figure it out. So, anyways,
Starts with an F.
does it? Anyways,
Look
Jeff.
at the Grafton News, it's on there.
Yeah.
He's a former Marine. He's comes with a lot of great energy. We're really excited to have him. And so you're gonna start seeing some more stuff out of the veterans agent in general, I think.
Will he be spending more
What is
time in Grafton?
Farrell, Jeff Farrell, but just like I said.
Farrell.
So, but no, he lives like right over the border of Grafton, and so he's local. I've seen him a ton, doing a lot of stuff, meet and greets.
Nice.
Got some really cool ideas, and yeah,
So we're still part of the four
we're
towns.
still part of the four. We just re-solidified all of that. So
So we'll see him when we come in his office more often than past time?
I've seen him more than
Okay,
other
the other
people.
one, yeah.
In a while.
Cause every time I came in,
Comparatively
I never saw
speaking, it
anybody.
Yeah,
might
so
be
we also
once.
moved his office.
Yeah, I
He's
know.
the Memorial Hallway now.
I said comparatively speaking, that
Yeah.
And
would
it's
be
actually
once.
kind of neat. I'll digress for just a second. He's doing this project where you can get him this enclosed like corkboard, and everybody that comes and gets services or is a Grafton veteran can give them their patch, and he'll have everybody's
Nice.
patch in there. 'Cause,
Nice,
you know, he's
that's
trying to
cool.
find ways to
To get people
get
involved.
people to,
Yeah. That's
so
awesome.
He's doing, and that's just one little tiny thing he's doing. He's doing a whole bunch of other stuff, but I thought that was pretty cool.
And we
We-
get paid by the other towns.
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
So we're still the host community
We are,
on the?
we are the host.
We're the host, yeah. So in terms of libraries coming in Wednesday night, we'll see library Wednesday. We talked about debt service. So your total budget, 74,593,73, a 6% increase.
Yep.
That includes schools at 3.7%. That includes your debt service. That includes your increases in county retirement, increases in health insurance. So overall, 6% increase is not that out of whack. And at the end of the day, and we'll go over this Wednesday, I'm sure, when we talk about the final numbers. At the end of the day, we're gonna have how much left in levy capacity when
So
this budget gets voted?
Right now, we're at 232,000. If you look at our revenue numbers as is, and as I've been trying to express, that number's assuredly higher than that. It just doesn't get captured because of how our revenue is.
When will you get your final number? I'm sure the assessor has been updating you. When do you think you get, because right now you're carrying 700,000 in new growth. When, she usually gives it to what, August, September? Did you get that number?
Yeah.
So by the time that gets done, that number will definitely be high, because
Oh,
you're
yeah.
definitely gonna go higher than 700,000 on growth.
I have no doubt.
Don't
and-
forget,
And if some of these,
you misspoke.
if some of
I
these.
misspoke?
Yes.
Oh, tell me how.
The $850 you forgot when you gave the bottom line figure to the budget.
Oh, that's right, I forgot about the raise we gave to the,
So he's off by
Moderator.
850.
So I think that,
A few more small ones.
you know,
Oh,
we
yeah.
have a lot of big projects too in the queue.
Yep.
And so whether they come to fruition or not, I think is gonna really tip our revenue in the coming 2 years.
Did I see the marijuana place opened? Or did I just see a bunch of cars in the parking
Just
lot?
a bunch of cars.
I think they're doing the inside.
Okay.
Like it's still, jeez.
I've heard, I keep hearing any day now. But
It literally doesn't matter.
Yeah.
As far as our
We're
revenue
not
goes,
getting anything.
because
It's,
the way that the CCC has just taken all that money away. So unless you can prove direct cost, they're saying don't even bother trying to enforce your host agreement at this point.
That's terrible.
It's
that they've
awful.
done that.
I mean, it's it's unfortunate that, you know, we made agreements and like planned on it, but also I kind of, it makes sense kind of.
It makes sense to me after, say, year 5, when you put these things in place and say, listen, towns, you're gonna get this revenue for 5 years to mitigate any impacts.
Anything, yeah.
That's the carrot, right? And so they gave us the carrot.
And then they yanked it away.
And then they yanked it away after everybody already said, oh yeah, we'll take 3. I honestly don't care. I don't think that the impact is what people were afraid of.
That's
but
my
don't,
point,
But
yeah.
don't tell me that's what we're gonna get.
Right.
And then turn around and change.
And then take it
the rug
away.
out from under.
Well, that's
There's-
typical. That's typical of the state. The state does that all the
I know,
time.
but
Yeah.
it's really
So who's taking the money? Is the CCC taking the money?
No,
No.
the businesses are keeping the money.
Yeah.
Business-
I think, are we still gonna get this, a little bit of a sales
the
tax change?
Yeah,
3%.
but that's why
That's
you look
by
at
law,
our revenue.
yeah.
It went from 4,000 last year to 12,000 this year.
Yeah.
So it's a bummer. You know, one of the reasons why this surplus number says 232 and not 350 is because we banked on $120,000 in host money last year, which was the minimum contribution. We didn't
Go
project,
You were very
Crazy.
consistent on
Yeah.
that number.
right?
Yep.
And so we had to eat that elsewhere, which is why we're a little bit ahead of where I thought we would be, is really because that revenue evaporated, you know? So, I mean, I think that
Went up in
if,
smoke.
and this is a rough estimate, I think if we were plugging things in and where we're gonna end up is gonna be in the $500,000 as far as surplus
Range.
goes. Maybe even 600.
And one of the things I would like to see, and I think I asked for this the other day, is that come Wednesday night, just to give us an idea of 25 in
Yep.
terms of what you think it's gonna be with the increases, just a little projection, so we
I
understand.
do, and I'll give you, I have it, I don't have it shared right now. We can do that Wednesday night if you want.
Yes.
But I'll give you our full 5-year revenue projection.
Beautiful,
And how we came to it.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Greg pointed out there were a couple of budgets I skipped over, sailor weights and measures, no increase there.
Does anybody ever see him?
Who?
Sealers and weights?
We have a new person. They just
I've
started
never
this year.
seen the old person. Or the,
I honestly,
Yeah.
Sue,
Now you won't.
you asked
Now
me a
you
tough
won't.
question, Sue. I've never met him. William hired him and he interacts
yeah?
with Amber. But yeah, we do have fairly regular contacts just because of the bill schedules and things like that.
I think the only time we ever heard from him is when he wanted to increase.
Yeah, that's typical though.
Yeah.
And they're just kinda out there doing their thing. No news is good news.
Yep, emergency management, no changes.
Nope.
And then animal control and animal inspector, we're still a region with that.
Yep, and so that increases because we've added some hours to we got a part-time position.
Oh, nice.
So, because if the person goes on vacation,
There's no
Got nobody.
there's nobody. So this is just
Is that regional?
yes,
Yeah.
us in Westboro. Sorry,
Okay.
Grafton, Flint.
Small region.
No, it's still a region.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we still almost used all of it at the time.
Okay.
I was close.
You were close, very.
I tried, right? Not bad. We'll refine it next year. We'll see what we can do. All right. So Wednesday, 6:30. Please note that we start. Dan, I'm sorry, we're starting a little early on Wednesday at 6:30. Library's going to come in at 6:30, and then the school at 7, and then Evan at 7:30 to finalize the budget. So is
It-
everybody good with that schedule?
Did, Blackstone Valley already get the 9 schools, or 9 towns to support?
I have no idea.
I think so.
They had what? Agriculture, that's 9 students, agriculture?
No, he's asking the region, they have to get X amount of schools to approve the budget, then it's automatic, we have no
Oh.
choice. That's what
Let's
you're
let-
asking, right?
Yeah, let's, if he's already got the
No,
9 towns,
well,
then forget
it's
it.
already-
Sorry, I
Yeah,
misspoke.
don't even
We
bother.
haven't even released the number yet.
Like, we just
We don't
have
have the
it
number.
plugged in, right? We don't
That
even have the number.
that number is us guessing.
I think it's worth having him come in
Oh,
and discuss.
yeah,
it.
especially if we don't have a real
Will he have a
number, it'd
real
be
number
nice
for
to
us
at least.
Wednesday night?
Well,
I thought
He
in
told
their
me the
memo
date.
it
Hold on.
said at
Yeah.
the end of the month.
Yeah, hold on.
by the time he gets to us, he's already has his budget approved. He's 13 towns and
But
most
they
of them.
received the state money so late, and I think that's why the school.
He doesn't have a,
Yes,
Ah,
right, because they were waiting on Governor Healy's number.
Their board is gonna vote on March 23rd.
So how can we approve a budget?
Well, let's see what he has for numbers.
Maybe he might have it for us.
In years past, he has given us this is the number, don't count on it,
right.
because it hasn't been voted yet. Nod, so.
But it's always been the number.
Yeah, he's come back and lowered or higher in the past
But
years.
not by
I
a
don't
ton.
Not
think
by a
every-
ton, no.
Which is
Rarely.
perfect. I mean, if they're within 10-20,000 on what they tell us it's gonna be, that's
Yeah.
pretty
That's
big.
easy, yeah.
Yeah.
You usually see it on the warrant article that it's changed.
All right, Mary and Evan and Amber, thank you so much for spending your Saturday with us. And thank you to the committee for taking time out of your schedule to be with us today. I think we covered a lot of great ground. I think the budget's in great shape. The department heads are excellent. They know what they're doing. So I think coming into Wednesday night after we talk about the library, and then we have to talk about Candy's, survey, which hopefully will get to us in advance.
Yeah, that's the
Yep,
intent.
and then we'll hopefully be able to finalize the budget Wednesday. If we need another meeting, we'll figure that out while we're here, and we'll schedule another meeting if we need it. But thank you, everybody. Great
Well,
meeting.
we don't
Where's
vote
our
on the
lunch? Did you
budget
get
till-
Skipper's lunch?
Yeah, it's in B.
We don't vote on the budget
Your lunch
until
is
our
here.
public hearing, though.
What's that?
We don't vote on our budget till the public hearing,
Oh, I thought
in April.
we approved the budget. We
No,
don't?
you do it when you do the warrant article.
Yes, that's when we
Yeah.
vote on the number.
Oh,
Yeah,
on the
good-
number,
yes.
but I think we can say
Right.
Wednesday
Yeah,
night, we're
it's-
comfortable with the numbers, right?
Yes.
Right,
Yeah.
Thank you, Sue. You're
but we
right.
don't
You're right.
vote.
Yeah, we can decide that we're not gonna make a scene at town meeting with an amendment.
That's a good
And
point.
With our own
again,
budget.
We made a lot of changes.
So we're gonna eat here and go, or are you gonna take your lunch and go home?
You tell me, you guys do what you wanna do. What do you wanna do? You wanna eat here? You wanna go into B and eat, and that way people don't have to hear us?
No, we'll turn all.
Is there more, or are we done?
We're done.
We're done.
Motion to adjourn.
Oh, yeah, we're adjourned.
Okay.